Atlanta, Georgia, capital of the South and home to some of the best hoops in the country. 30 minutes to the north, LakePoint Sports and the Champion Center, where today we'll crown the winners in the 6th annual Battle for Georgia. We'll tip off our coverage today with the 17 and under championship game final as Game Elite takes on Atlanta Express. And welcome courtside. Good Sunday afternoon and happy 4th of July weekend. Matt Stewart joined by former Davidson Wildcat team captain, Georgia Tech assistant coach, and James Madison head coach, Dean Keener. And today is kind of like Christmas Day, Coach, for basketball fans, coaches, and scouts.
You're exactly right. It's July 2nd, but this is the place to be for grassroots basketball in the Peach State. Nothing better than the Battle for Georgia. It's the 3rd game for both teams, so they just simply have to find a way to win.
Let's talk about Game Elite first. They are uber talented, one of the top 17 and under programs in the entire country, one of the best on the Adidas circuit. They're led by 4-star Peyton Marshall, the center for the defending 5A state champion Kel Longhorns. He's rated as high as the number 7 center in the entire country.
And deserving of that ranking. The 7-footer just continues to get better and better. He's in the best shape he's ever been in. He's always had soft hands, good feet. He's tough to handle at both ends of the floor.
Atlanta Express back to defend their 17 and under championship from a year ago, sponsored by Under Armour. Last year, they had McDonald's All-American Stephon Castle, who's now at UConn, but they still have a very talented roster led by point guard Karis Bilal out of Riverwood, and he's committed to Vanderbilt.
And he is deserving of that commitment. If you have not seen Bilal in person, you're in for a treat. He can score at all 3 levels. In particular, he is really dangerous around the arc.
It's the 17 and under Battle for Georgia championship. It's Team Elite, Game Elite versus Atlanta Express in the 17 and under championship. Tips off right after this.
The Game Elite organization has been around since the 90s and has continued to be a top travel ball club.
Between the training from Dez and the organization from Ryan, this is like the best of both worlds. I think we're obviously one of the better teams in the country, regardless of shoe affiliation, but definitely one of the better programs in the country as well.
The Adidas-sponsored team has now produced multiple NBA draft picks, including the 2020 number 1 overall pick, Anthony Edwards, and the 2023 number 3 overall pick, Scoot Henderson, both who had big performances in the Battle for Georgia and other RYZE events.
But then guys like those guys also come back and still pour into the program as far as whether it's mentoring, as far as working out. I know JB always comes back home and work out with some of the guys as well. And Scoot, even when he was with the G League, he came back and practiced with some of the guys also and worked out with them also.
Back at the LakePoint Champion Center, just about set for the 17 and under championship game as Game Elite takes on Atlanta Express. Game Elite, an 85-65 quarterfinal winner over OTP National earlier today, and then an 81-78 win in the semifinals over AE5, Anthony Edwards' team. They really got pushed to the limit, Coach, in that semifinal.
They did. AE5 had the size and the length to be able to guard Peyton Marshall one-on-one, and they were athletic enough, just didn't have enough at the end.
Atlanta Express nearly didn't make it out of the quarterfinals, had to get a buzzer beater from the corner after a steal in the first overtime to defeat AC Georgia 81-75 in double overtime, and then routed Wood Elite 97-74 in the semifinals.
As we just talked about in the opening, 3rd game, quick turnaround for the Express. They've been pushed in both games. Limited roster number-wise. What do they have left in the tank? You would hope these guys, understand what it means to be crowned Battle of Georgia champion.
Well, Game Elite does. They've won Battle of Georgia 3 times. This team won the 16 and under championship a year ago. They're out there in the black and the orange, and Atlanta Express in the blue and the red. So just about set to get going here. The first of our 2 championship games in our coverage from LakePoint Sports today. We'll have the 16 and under championship game coming up at roughly 4:30. And to exhibit just how tight this tournament is, those semifinals are being played right now.
Yeah.
So the teams we're going to see next here on court number 5 at LakePoint Sports are still playing, trying to get to the championship game.
There have been fantastic games here since 9 a.m. this morning, right? 8 teams arrive in each division, 8 in the 15U, 8 in the 16U, and 8 in the 17U. And this has become such an annual event. You see stars and celebrities really within the basketball community here to watch their sons or just be around really, really high-level basketball.
Opening tip won by Atlanta Express, and that's Bilal right off the tip. Missed the layup, challenged underneath, and the putback by Bez Jenkins. And a 2-0 lead for Express, playing 16-minute halves, not quarters.
Go with the 30-second shot clock as well, reset to 20 when needed.
Scoop up and in on the drive by number 5 for game elite, Jeremiah Wilkinson out of McEachern High School. You'll see a big Cobb County flavor in this game elite roster. 3 players from the defending Kell championship team and 2 from McEachern.
Between Cobb County, Cherokee County, and Fulton in particular, those are Gwinnett, I guess, the 4 massive counties in this state for basketball, although, boy, you can travel all over and find players at all levels.
That's Wilkinson again on the drive. There's Marshall with the rebound. He got fouled from behind by Cole Kirawak.
And that's the thing. You've got to put a body on Marshall right away, and then you've got to make sure you go and secure that basketball. His reach over 9 feet, I mean, it makes it really difficult at the high school level, the grassroots level, to keep him off the glass.
Peyton Marshall, 7 foot, 310, and he's worked hard to get down to the 310.
You'll see a terrific free throw touch, just really, really talented. To your point, down to 310. I think most coaches believe if he can get down in that 285, 290 range in the coming year, I mean, that just keeps him out on the court, better stamina, potentially keeps him out of foul trouble, any injury trouble. He understands. I mean, he's been highly motivated for the last 2 years.
Set 3-pointer by Ashton Penamon out of Newton High School. That gives Express a 5-4 lead.
You'll see multiple defenses out of both teams.
And the jam by Marshall. And a quick timeout called by Express. As Elite takes a 6-5 lead, Marshall has scored 4 of their first 6 points.
Well, and there was no help side. I'm sure Coach Winford Jordan wants to talk to his team about what they're doing defensively. They can score at the offensive end as well as anybody in the state of Georgia in the 17U division. Boy, once you get a front on, you see Cole right there. He goes front side. There's no weak side help in the paint. Pretty easy for Marshall to keep it up high and finish with the dunk.
Marshall decommitted from Auburn April 14th, about a month after Kell won the state championship, as you take a look at the rosters from the 2 teams. 21 other offers, including Ole Miss. He took an official visit to Oxford last month, and the Rebels really recruiting him hard right now.
And you can understand why. Most of the ACC and SEC have been in contact.
Penamon with the layup. He has 5 of Express's first 7.
Well, the 3 and then the drive to the lane right there. Nice athleticism by Penamon.
At the circle, the miss by Cannon Richards, another one of those Kell Longhorns. And Express comes down the floor with the ball in the lead.
Richards, a guy that can face up, but boy, is he a nice second big for Kell at the high school level.
Kirawak tries the reverse layup too far underneath the basket. Marshall comes away with it. Long lead on the break. And the shot got blocked on the wing. Here's Bilal. He'll push it up the floor. Puts it in.
And we said at the top, he knows how to score the basketball, but has become a more well-rounded player as he's grown up. Really was nothing more than a shooter as a freshman and sophomore at Riverwood. Now a complete player.
Stolen away. Penamon comes away with it. Bounce pass to Bilal is intercepted. Back the other way. Kirawak's going to be called for his 2nd foul. You get 6 fouls, so a little bit different than the high school rules. which limit you to 5, but you get 6 personal fouls in this game. They might need them all trying to guard Game Elite.
Well, and with Mark Kolak, he's really the only big that the Express have. Bryson Tiller not in uniform today, getting back late from the NBA Players Camp down in Orlando. And so he'll have to play major minutes inside defending Marshall, Richards, and others at Game Elite.
Unfortunate that Tiller couldn't go for him today. The 5-star, he's the number 3 rated power forward in the country. Bilal on the wing for 3. Knocked out of bounds by Express.
He won't miss many of those when his feet are set. Bad transition defense by Game Elite, but they dodge a bullet.
2-point lead for Express, 3 minutes into the game. 17 and under championship from LakePoint Sports Champion Center.
Both teams like to play up tempo, both like to press, but I think third game now in a matter of about 5 hours, we'll see more of a half-court game here.
Wilkinson with the left hand puts it in. Wilkinson, 3-star, rated as high as the number 16 combo guard in the country. 9-9.
A little bit of zone right now out of Game Elite.
Bilal on the wing, 9 on the shot clock.
He had the shot and then it closed in a hurry.
Got to get a shot off. They ended up turning the ball over, under 5 on the shot clock. Wilkinson with the left hand, scoops it up and in. 2-point lead for Game Elite.
Well, the lefty has been impressive here in the first 4.5 minutes.
Lefties are just so hard to defend. Kerouac underneath got undercut on the play. I believe Moses Hips is going to be called for the foul.
Watch it again, that scoop, to your point, by the lefty. It's just you're not used to guarding somebody that way. When he gets going downhill, he's pretty adept at being able to use that backboard and finish. They called that last one on the floor, I guess a pushing foul before 32 Blue was able to get into a shooting motion.
Off the inbounds, Fortune with the miss. Inside, knocked away by Fortune. Leads to a break. Bilal beats everybody down the floor and puts it in. Harris Bilal, 3-star on 3, rates him as the number 19 point guard in the country. And the jumper by Wilkinson. He's putting on a show here in the first half.
Certainly is. Used that screen well. Defender went underneath, and it was pretty easy for him to just step up and knock that home.
Inside, Kerouac with the left hand on the nice wraparound pass by Penniman.
He's a kid. He'll be at Brewster Academy this year after spending some time growing up at North Forsyth High School. But boy, he's just going to continue to blossom, in my opinion, in the next 8 to 10 months.
That's Wilkinson again. They don't have an answer for him. 3-point lead for Elite.
They've got to find something. We thought we were going to be calling Peyton Marshall's name quite a bit here in the early going. It's been others for Game Elite, allowing them to have a quick 3-point lead.
Antonio Baker dribbles it off his leg, out of bounds.
Both these programs well established in grassroots basketball, not only in Greater Atlanta, the state of Georgia, but nationally. I mean, you could make a case that Game Elite is one of the top 5 to 8 teams, regardless of affiliation with an apparel company or independent team.
3-point attempt, and the rebound is controlled by Elite. They had Marshall underneath and missed him. Out on the top of the circle, and the miss on the 3-point attempt. That was Moses Hips.
Well, to young players, you never want to save the ball under your own basket. The Express dodged a bullet right there.
Penniman loose on the dribble, dribbles it right into Marshall. Lead and block by Fortune, but he's going to be called for the foul.
Fortune's a good-looking prospect, another guy that can come in and give the Express some size and strength inside.
6'7" forward in the 2023 class, so he's graduated already. He's out of Dutchtown High School.
He will be attending Hargrave Military Academy next year up in Virginia.
Hips at the line, hits the first free throw. Hips, the 3-star out of McEachern High School, rated as the number 34 shooting guard in the country. Number 13 rising senior in Georgia by 24/7 Sports Composite. Bilal goes by his man. You can see he can get a defender on skates pretty quickly with his speed. And the jumper on the other side of the hoop, Elijah Curry out of Memphis.
And a nice extra pass there by Wilkinson.
So Curry in the game, he's out of Memphis East High School. So even though it's the Battle of Georgia, it's not just Georgia players.
RYZE
Most
Hoops,
of the rosters
right.
are local, but you have some guys come in from other areas around the Southeast or maybe even the country to help you out, depending upon their connection to the team.
RYZE Hoops, that puts this event on here at the Champion Center each year, allows up to 3 out-of-state players per team.
And this is the 6th annual RYZE Hoops Battle for Georgia. Championships in the 15, 16, and 17 and under classifications, and you're watching the 17 and under championship game. Marshall with the rebound after the miss by Baker. The dribble drive and the miss on the layup. Good idea by Cologne. Another one of the Kell Longhorns.
Game Elite has had really good ball movement. Nice hesitation right there.
Penniman, you're right, was able to get Marshall out of position with his hesitation dribble and then go by him for the scoop layup. 4-point lead for Game Elite. Knocked away to the corner. Penniman, long baseball pass and a foul out on the dribble. Elijah Curry will be called for the foul. And we'll have our first timeout of the day. Game Elite on top, 19-15 in the 17 and under championship game. Back at the LakePoint Sports Champion Center, the 6th annual RYZE Hoops Battle for Georgia and our 17 and under championship game. Matt Stewart joined by Coach Dean Keener. And Game Elite on top of Atlanta Express 19-15. Express had the dribble, Fortune lost it. And now Game Elite in the black ahead. Knocked away, and Baker could not save it on the sideline.
For the most part, a fairly well-played half. You know, again, we kind of harp on, these kids are young, they've got fresh legs, but 3rd game of the day.
I was getting ready to say, 3rd game of the day, I'd be tripping over my own tongue. I'd be like Scooby-Doo out there, my tongue dragging out the side of my mouth.
Not for these young 16 and 17-year-old kids, especially, you know, the athleticism that you see on the court right now. And there's 10 kids on the court. All of them are going to, if they would like, they're going to play at the collegiate level, and many of them at the high Division I level.
Wilkinson takes the left-handed 3 off the side of the rim. Rebound controlled by McCullough. to Bilal in the corner, three-pointer off the mark. Richards the rebound.
Bilal has not had his touch here behind the arc yet, but if you're game elite, you've got to make sure you tag him early and often. He can catch fire in a hurry.
Back inside, and the missed layup. Bilal snags the rebound, and then a foul's going to be called on Hips. Hips missed the layup. Good defense by Bilal there, and then he fouled Bilal going for the ball.
A terrific back cut right there. When you're overplayed, what do? You go back door. Just couldn't finish the layup.
Ashton Penniman played for that Newton Rams team, one of the best programs in the state, east of Atlanta. Penniman on the drive, backhanded flip, rebound controlled by Baker in the put-in.
Just stayed with it right there. Wasn't the first jump, but it was the second opportunity. He was able to get that rebound and put it back in.
Antonio Baker out of Johnson, Savannah High School. Richards. Rebound controlled by Express. Ahead to Bilal, and a foul's going to be called on Elite as Wilkinson, going for the block, fouled him in the act of shooting.
That's about the third or fourth time here in the first half that Bilal has been out in front, kind of behind the game elite defense, and the Express teammates have found him. He's missed a couple of threes. One time he was able to put in a lay-in, and now he's finding himself at the line.
6'2", 180 point guard, class of 2024 out of Riverwood High School in Fulton County. Committed to the Vanderbilt Commodores over offers from Georgia State and Xavier.
He has really improved his ball handling. Always played the point guard spot, but at times I thought, you know, he wasn't the best decision maker as a young kid, but boy, he has really grown into being a complete point guard that can score when needed.
Playing on a circuit like this, playing the Battle for Georgia, what does that do for a young man's game outside of his high school basketball?
Well, when you're with the Express, you're playing on the Under Armour circuit. Like with the Game Elite, you're playing on the Adidas circuit. So you're playing against top players across the country. And then when you come to an event like this at the LakePoint Champion Center, you're playing the best of the best from the state of Georgia. You've got to be on top of your game, or you're going to go home. And good teams went home as early as 10 a.m. this morning.
Well, in the 16 and under bracket, we just saw the Atlanta Celtics, considered the favorite in that division, get knocked out by the 16 and under Atlanta Express team. And we'll have that 16 under championship game coming up for you after this one, roughly about 4:30. Alley-oop attempt, and unable to come down with it cleanly, Elijah Curry.
The right thought, just not the right pass.
Baker right in there in the midst of the trees, got his own miss.
You got to be careful in grassroots basketball. Sometimes you get caught playing one-on-one too much. I feel like Game Elite has done a little bit better job, even though we've got a tie game, of trying to move the basketball over the last two times in transition.
C.J. Brown took his eyes off the ball right there and missed a layup attempt.
We haven't called C.J. Brown's name much, but between him and Jabez Jenkins for the Express, arguably two of the most dynamic, the most athletic players in the state.
Jabez Jenkins, just go to YouTube and Google his name. You'll see him dunk over Steph Curry and Dwight Howard, and I'm not joking. He really did it. You'll probably want to see the YouTube video just like I did to prove that it's true. Marshall underneath, going to be called for traveling. Marshall just back from the MBPA Top 100 camp in Orlando this week, as a number of the players participating in Battle of Georgia were also involved in that, but reportedly really put on a show for new Ole Miss head coach Chris Beard and assistant Wes Flanagan.
Again, he's got such soft hands, great touch around the rim. Most importantly, he's unselfish.
Threw it away right there, though. And a double dribble call called on Express.
The thing you like about Marshall is every year he's gotten better. Hey, you go back to when he was a sophomore, they lost in an Elite Eight game at Sequoia in the state playoffs. He didn't even start, but yet he was a factor in that game. And then this year, of course, he comes back. He's the centerpiece for the state championship team.
Put it on the floor, is able to retain possession, and gets fouled in the act of shooting. Well, I had the opportunity to call him in the Georgia High School Association 5A state final for GPB, and he got into foul trouble early in that game. Was not an impact player for most of the game, but got back in there late with 4 fouls, was able to hit some big buckets down the stretch as Kell beat Eagles Landing for the state title, their first ever in program history.
Now, Jermaine Sellers and staff do a great job at Kell. The girls also with a state championship.
Kell's got 3 players on this Game Elite roster in addition to Peyton Marshall. Actually 4, let me say that, 4 on this roster. C.J. Brown, Jalen Colon, and Cannon Richards.
And think about this. This was Scoot Henderson's high school as well until he took his services to the G League Ignite team.
And Scoot Henderson would have been a college freshman this year and was selected number 3 in the NBA draft by the Portland Trailblazers. And he participated in this event, as did so many incredible alumni. Anthony Edwards, Jabari Smith, Bruce Thornton, who's now at Ohio State, Isaiah Collier, who's going to be at Southern Cal coming up, #1 prospect in the country, even the #1 pick in the NFL draft from 2022. Trayvon Walker played in this event.
He was here with Team Georgia Magic a couple of years ago. I give credit to Dan McDonald, who's now moved on to Kennesaw State. He was the director of RYZE, along with Carter Wilson. Really, those two they created and developed what has become just arguably the best single day of grassroots basketball in the state of Georgia.
1-point lead for Elite, under 4 minutes to play here in the first half. Penniman on the drive, gets trapped in a double team, passes out top of the circle. Express having some trouble with the 3 ball, and Wilkinson has not, and he nails another one. Jeremiah Wilkinson having a great game. Decommitted from Mississippi State in May, has 8 other offers, including Cal, Butler, and Tulsa.
Well, you can see why. Boy, when he's open, he can knock it down, but he's also proven that he can get to the rim.
Baker Kerouac with the rebound and miss. Long outlet comes to Wilkinson again, had his shot blocked this time.
I like everything about Wilkinson, though. Boy, when look at that rotation, the arch. He's a good size, good athlete.
Wilkinson calls for the ball off the inbounds, missed the 3-point attempt. And it comes to Bilal, who gets the layup.
Again, sound like a broken record, but Bilal has gotten behind the Game Elite defense multiple times. And I think partly because Game Elite's sending 5 guys to the glass.
Marshall inside, got challenged by Fortune, and he got the block. Fortune showing off some springs. He'll make sure that makes his highlight reel.
And then the Express able to turn good defense into good offense with the finish, and they now tie it up here.
Tied at 25, under 2.5 to go, first half. Well, it's been an entertaining first half here in the 17 and under championship game, and a foul is going to be called on Game Elite as C.J. Brown trying to prevent the layup.
Yeah, give the Express credit. Fortune comes in and challenges Marshall. Penniman has played well. Bilal has played well, maybe not to the level that he would like, but they are hanging around and doing what they need to do at the defensive end.
Let's face it, Coach, this is what makes this event special for a guy like Fortune. He's getting a chance to play a guy who's rated the #7 center in the country. What better way to show how good you are? You don't have any stars by your name. You don't have any ratings by your name, is to go up and block his shot.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a guy that I wouldn't consider him a sleeper, but maybe not as well known as others in the basketball grassroots world. And you're right. I mean, he's now got some highlights here, and more importantly, he can take this with him. Now he finishes with
Beats
extra
Marshall
effort
for the rebound and puts in the offensive rebound for points. 2-point lead for Express.
What he does is he moves his feet, very active at both ends of the court.
Bodying up against Marshall. Marshall just bangs his body, drops that shoulder into his body and puts it off the glass. Tied at 27.
Marshall does a nice job of letting the defense settle to see if a double team comes.
Baker misses the three. Bilal tried to sneak in there and get the rebound. In the corner, and Elijah Curry, 3-star, rated the number 42 power forward in the country by 24/7 Sports Composite. 3-point lead for Elite, under a minute to go first half.
You give Express credit too, when Marshall has been in there, they have not been scared to challenge him at the rim. You get the sense Marshall, you talked about the last week in Orlando, now the third game. Give him credit for playing and showing up and doing what he can, but he does look like he's a little tired right now.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say he looks fatigued. Like you said, he's been in Orlando at the MBPA camp, top 100 camp in Orlando, and now playing 3 games here on Sunday, the day of rest, right?
But you got to give him credit. Other guys would choose to take some time off. Load management, as they call it at the NBA level.
They go to Fortune. And traveling call on Fortune.
Shot clock off. The Game Elite can take the last shot if they choose. The battle for Georgia has used a shot clock since the inception 6 years ago. Love that the GHSA has now gone to that as well.
No doubt about that. In the corner, the big three-pointer knocked down by C.J. Brown, and a 6-point lead for Elite. 10 seconds to play in the half.
You get the sense that the Express need a basket right here after 2 threes from Game Elite.
Bilal tries to answer with his own three. Marshall, 3/4 heave down the floor, and that's going to be the end of the first half. And a 33-27 lead for Game Elite.
You called it earlier. Look, there's been some back and forth. The game's been pretty good. It's been more half court.
So a 6-point lead for Game Elite. We're at halftime. We'll step aside and come back for the start of the second half in just a moment.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Welcome back. It is halftime here at the Champion Center, LakePoint Sports, and Game Elite with a 33-27 lead on Atlanta Express in the 6th annual Battle for Georgia 17 and under national championship game. Matt Stewart joined by Dean Keener, and what a first half by Jeremiah Wilkinson for Game Elite. He scored 14 of their 33 points in the first 16 minutes.
And that's the exciting thing about the Battle for Georgia. Sometimes unsung heroes just step up. You know, we called Peyton Marshall's name a little bit, but we didn't call C.J. Brown. We didn't call some others from the Express, but it was a fairly clean played half. I thought right there at the end, those 2 threes, the difference, that's what the Express are going to have to do. They're going to have to defend in transition and defend the 3 by Game Elite. Ashton
Penniman, the leading scorer for Express. He has 13 of their 27 points. This is a young man who's already graduated from Newton High School, so this game, this type competition is especially important for him.
It certainly is. I mean, he is available to go to college or prep school this year, and I'm sure there's people watching, whether it's now or later on, and they'll see against Tom competition exactly what he can do.
33-27. What do you expect in the second half? We started to see a little bit of fatigue set in, especially on the big guys at the end of that first half, and halftime's only 5 minutes. It's not a 15-minute go to the locker room, take your shoes off and cool off.
In travel ball, yeah, you sit at the bench, coach talks to you for a couple minutes, tells you to get some hydration, and you're off and playing. But you're right, I think fatigue is really the key, particularly for Peyton Marshall in the second half and the Game Elite team.
We'll step aside and come back and tip off the second half right after this.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Back at LakePoint Sports Champion Center. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday afternoon, and hope you're enjoying an early start to your 4th of July weekend. Game Elite with a 33-27 lead on Atlanta Express in the 17 and under championship game of the 6th annual RYZE Hoops Battle for Georgia. And it's been a fun game so far. And you're right, it was a clean contest, really tight back and forth until a couple of late threes in that final minute by Game Elite gave them a little separation as we start the second half.
Well, it doesn't mean they're going to win, but Game Elite has a little bit more firepower right now than the Atlanta Express. You can go inside, you can play around Peyton Marshall or even Cannon Richards, but then on the outside you've got guys that can make plays and score the basketball. C.J. Brown, a guy, number 0, watch him in the second half. We didn't call his name much, but he's a guy that arguably can get as hot as anybody.
Well, Jeremiah Wilkinson, number 5 in black. He's been the top scorer in the game so far and just really adept with that left-handed shot of his mid-range, drive into the hoop, and even hitting some three-point shots.
You talked about it. I mean, he's a true combo, right? People say, well, what's that? A combo guard. He can play the 1, he can play the 2. He just is a basketball player.
And 1 for Peyton Marshall.
Now, we talked first half. Watch the move here again. Watch the footwork. He plants that left foot, and then he spins into the move. He may not have been able to finish that a year ago, and certainly didn't have the left hand jump hook. He just added so much each year. That free throw right there, again, a little bit of fatigue, just not using his legs.
8-point lead for Game Elite. Penniman with another bucket. That gives him 15 in the game.
Boy, what a crafty move right there. Step back to create space into that mid-range game. You don't see a lot from kids these days.
He's a 5'11", 175 guard. Looking for a home to continue his basketball career.
A travel right there on Marshall, but I think part of that was a double team came. I'm sure Winfred Jordan, coach of the Atlanta Express, talked to his team at halftime about guarding Marshall inside.
Kerouac, shot blocked by Marshall. Gets it back in a double team. Blocked again by Marshall.
And we talk about fatigue. We didn't talk about Hart, though. Boy, he continues to play at the defensive end, Marshall.
And the mid-range jumper by Penniman. Nicely done. The lost art of the mid-range jumper.
Every time you think Game Elite is going to expand this lead, inch toward double digits, boy, the Express come up with a defensive play, or now Penniman offensively keeping them close.
And a couple of mistakes also contributed by Game Elite. After they got the 8-point lead, they've had a couple of stops. They've had 3 consecutive possessions where they haven't scored on the offensive end.
Well, I like what they're doing here. They're trying to pull Marshall away from the basket in with that high pick and roll. And if he doesn't, boy, that helps the offensive player for the Express.
Penniman with the dish to Fortune. And the lead is down to 2.
I like Austin. Fortune, number 33. We talked about he'll spend a year at Hargrave Military Academy as a prep student. He'll play against top competition all year and get maximum exposure.
Penniman on the step through, back to Kerouac, had it knocked away by Marshall. Foul called on Marshall. That might have been a tough one right there. I thought I heard a lot of ball.
Yeah, boy, you've got to keep that ball chin level and extend those elbows, or Marshall's going to get his hand on it. He's going to get a breather right here.
So Marshall will come out. Elijah Curry will come in for him.
Curry, kind of a hybrid forward, high IQ guy, according to the Game Elite staff.
And they call him a power forward in the recruiting rankings. He's probably going to have to put a little more muscle on that body to be a power forward.
That's right.
But the idea of the 4, the low block floor for that, I mean, everybody's a stretch 4 now, right?
That's the way the game is going,
yeah.
You know, and it's filtering down from the college level, really the NBA level,
yeah,
to the college level and even high school. So much at the high school level, though, guys will, and parents, they'll get upset at the coach saying, well, you're playing him inside. At the end of the day, college coaches will recognize a basketball player.
Fortune with the free throw, and Express has cut the Elite lead down to 1. You might hear some whistles and horns in the background. That's because we have other games going on courts around us, so don't be fooled by it. I'll try not to be fooled by it.
They filter down to what is called Court 5. It's the championship court here at the Champion Center.
And we'll have the 16 and under championship game still to come. Atlanta Express will be one of the combatants. They pulled off the upset, knocking off the Atlanta Celtics. And the other game, Game Elite and the Georgia Stars. Elite has a 90-84 lead in the final seconds.
May have a repeat of teams or programs at the 16U level, as we see right here.
Curry behind the back and the corner jumper. I've been impressed with the mid-range jump shots we've seen in this game today, and a 3-point lead for Game Elite.
Yeah, multiple guys showing what they can do in that 12 to 16-foot range.
Bilal misses, and going for the rebound, Richards gets fouled over the back by Fortune.
Nice box out there by Cannon Richards.
I think it's refreshing for me to see, as I've called games at every level, high school, college, pro, to see that when the three-point shot isn't falling, that they kind of go back to the mid-range game, like your coach used to tell you in high school when you came along. In the pro game, they just keep firing the 3.
Yeah, well said.
I mean, they might miss 30, they keep shooting the 3.
Oh, you're right.
Because the analytics say that's what you're supposed to do.
Right. But what we're seeing here today, right? Curry again, another mid-range pull-up.
Yep.
That starts with good ball movement, playing inside out. Nice left right there.
Yeah, good job by Kerouac. He had a real battle going on there. Curry had his hands all over him, and he was able to fight through the defense and get the basket. 3-point lead, Game Elite. to the corner, and the three bounces off the top of the backboard. Jalen Cologne with the miss.
Cologne is Game Elite's best on-ball defender. He can make the three, but he was falling back right there, as you see the previous offensive play by the Express.
Baker with the drive and put in, and Express has cut the Elite lead to 1.
Every time Game Elite has tried to extend that lead, the Express have hung around, come back with a key play. You got to give them credit.
Rebound controlled by Express. They come down the floor after trailing by 8. They have a chance to reclaim the lead.
Amazing what good defense does for your offense.
Penniman on the drive. Bilal has it. Plenty of time still on the shot clock. Bilal misses the three. Curry, make that Richards, snags the rebound.
Wilkinson just ran away from Bilal right there, but not able to knock down the three.
Sweet turnaround jumper on the baseline by Curry. Curry's showing you he's got some things in that bag of his.
No question.
Penniman with the layup. Man, Penniman is really putting on a show here. Hopefully this opens some doors for him, because he is really playing well here for Atlanta Express today.
Extra gear when he gets into the paint.
Steal. Penniman picks it up. Drops it off for Baker, and the ball gets lodged between the backboard and the rim.
Boy, and that was the right play. They were so close in that 2-on-1 situation. Unfortunately, the Express, you watch it here again, nifty little pass, and then just can't quite get that thing over the rim and on the glass. That would have been the Express's first lead in a long time.
So Marshall back in the game for Game Elite. Off the inbounds, the corner three. Rebound controlled by Elite. And Bilal swipes it. Stepped on the baseline after stealing the ball. But a good job by Bilal not to give up on the play. That would have been an easy one just to give up on and give up the layup.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter if it's a championship game, right? You could say, well, I'm gonna give this up, just kind of run through there. He stuck with it. And now Game Elite has to play against 5-on-5.
Marshall missed the dunk. Baker drives on through and puts Express back on top with 10 minutes to play.
Absolutely no quit in this Express team, although you wouldn't expect that anything less out of a win for Jordan coach team.
They were down 8 early in the second half, and they've battled back from that to take the lead. Penniman steps into the three and drains it. 4-point lead for Express.
Well, it puts Game Elite on their heels just a little bit. Really the first time all day they've been challenged in the second half.
Curry, the wing three, the answer right there to get Elite back to within 1.
Boy, love what I'm seeing out of Curry.
Yeah, he's a good-looking player. Out of Memphis East. Has 6 offers. Another big block by Marshall underneath. Ahead it comes. And the jam by Wilkinson. And a timeout called by Express as the jam by Jeremiah Wilkinson puts Elite back on top by 1.
And a blink of an eye, that's what Game Elite can do. They can score in bunches.
Jeremiah Wilkinson will be playing his first season with McEachern coming up this year. He played for the Skill Factory in Atlanta in his junior season. He'll be playing for the Indians, and they'll no doubt be a favorite in 7A with Harris Bailey coming back. Ace Bailey, who's committed to Rutgers. Marshall with the block. Good job on defense. And a timeout called by Express.
Close the loop, you're right. The McEachern Indians always in the thick of things. Head coach Tremaine Ankrum does such a good job. Former player at USC. Players all over, though, this greater Atlanta area, really all over this state. And it truly is the battle for Georgia, right? I mean, we're calling Antonio Baker's name. He's from Savannah. We've had guys here all weekend and really today from throughout the state, the greater Atlanta area, really the main main portion of where these kids come from. But what I'll say also is the qualifier is part of this. So the Battle for Georgia qualifier is kind of a last chance tournament Friday night and Saturday of this weekend. And one team then advances to join the other 7 invitees.
OTP National was the team that came out of the 17 and under qualifier tournament this year, and they played your Game Elite in the first game of the day. 81-65 losers to Game Elite, but an opportunity to get on the big stage and be in one of the final 8 spots in this tournament. Below the miss, Marshall popped up in the air. Kerouac comes up with it, and it rolled off the rim on the hook.
Boy, did everything right, including keeping it high, using his left hand, but just couldn't get it to go down.
Marshall lost the dribble, stolen away. And Bez Jenkins gets knocked to the floor. Haven't seen a lot out of Bez Jenkins in this game.
You talked about it in the first half. I mean, arguably the most athletic player in the state of Georgia, at least in the class of 24.
I'm just salivating, waiting for him to get a breakaway.
Just let the crowd do the talking as he finishes.
One-point lead for Game Elite with 8:18 remaining in regulation here in the 17 and under championship game. Miss off back iron. Kerouac gets the offensive rebound. Baker breaking down the defense. Back to Kerouac, and a foul on the floor called on Game Elite.
Kerouac will get credited for an offensive rebound, but more than that, right, it recycles an offensive possession. He's doing everything he can to battle Marshall down there.
He's given up 120 pounds on the scale against Marshall.
No doubt about it, but he's a kid, again, who's continued to grow. You see him right there on the screen, and if he can hang up a defender's body, he can help the offense without really showing up in a stat book.
That beats the shot clock, does not hit the iron, so a shot clock violation, but since Game Elite got the rebound, they'll play on through. So timeout on the floor, 7:33 left in regulation, and a 1-point lead for Game Elite.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, you'll always find more fun with great brands at the best prices. More of this, and this. So you can get together for a little of that, and a lot more of that. And even some of that, and that's good. Have more fun with great brands at the best prices. Only at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Back at LakePoint Sports Champion Center, it's a 17 and under championship game, 6th annual RYZE Hoops Battle for Georgia. Game Elite leading Atlanta Express 46-45. Matt Stewart joined by Dean Keener. Thanks for joining us. This one's going right down to the wire, Coach.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And you got to give both teams credit for playing hard and playing together in the third game of the afternoon. But in particular, boy, the Express here in the second half have shown a real knack to hang around and a level of mental toughness I didn't know they had.
Penniman off the screen. Lost the ball on his pass attempt inside. Watch out for Curry. Elijah Curry on a spin move on the baseline, kind of trapped out there, gets it up top, 18 on the shot clock. And the entry pass will have a foul called on Express. That's going to go against Bez Jenkins.
Give Curry credit. I mean, he really wanted to try to get a shot off, but he gave it up and then reposted.
Inside to Curry off the inbounds, and he puts it up and in. 3-point lead for Elite.
We called Jeremiah Wilkinson's name in the first half for a game Elite. It's been Curry here in the second half.
Jenkins hits it. Official timeout as Penniman comes off the floor. Bez Jenkins, 3-star, rated the number 52 shooting guard in the country, has 5 offers. Took an official visit to Belmont in June.
He's long, really good two-way player in the sense, because of his athleticism, he can guard on the wing.
So 14 fouls on Express, 5 on Elite. That could be a factor down the stretch. 7 gets you to the bonus and 10 to the double bonus.
Call an illegal screen right there in the corner by Peyton Marshall, I think
so.
on the inbounds. This game Elite program been in existence for 23 years. For those that can remember, they were the Worldwide Renegades was the name, and they rebranded a number of years ago, but in particular this year they have had an incredible spring on all circuits, not just the Adidas circuit. They've been inside the Champion Center for RYZE Hoops events.
Baker hits the floater. That puts Express back on top by 1.
Just got to love the fight by both teams right now.
Inside to Marshall, double team, and he just kind of pops it up and in. Just used his size to his advantage. 1-point lead Elite. Baker goes right back at Marshall. Kerouac with the follow.
And that's what you're taught as a young guy, just run to the rim. And that's what he did, and he found himself in position to finish in a back and forth situation, give his team the lead.
Baker going to be called for the strip foul as Curry was making his move.
Watch it here again. 32 blue, he just runs rim to rim. Nice job right there, though, by Baker with the left hand over Marshall.
So Curry at the foul line. 6 offers for Curry, the 3-star out of Memphis East, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Mizzou, LSU, Memphis, and Radford. That Ole Miss job is going to be an interesting situation there with Chris Beard taking over after leading Texas Tech to a Final Four, a championship game a couple of years ago.
And the ultra competitive SEC on the basketball side of things, and wait for a year from now until the Sooners of Oklahoma and the Longhorns of Texas join.
No doubt. Marshall missed up close. Curry there to clean up the trash.
How many times have you called Curry's number and name here in the second half?
He's had a huge second half. 3-point lead for Elite. Bez Jenkins strokes the 3. Tied at 54, 4.5 to go. And a long 3-pointer by Moses Hips.
He shot that in rhythm. I thought that was a step outside his range, but certainly he proved me wrong.
Young man originally from Voorhees, New Jersey. Wing 3. Jenkins misses from the other side. Marshall has the rebound. 3-point lead for Elite and the ball.
How do you guard Curry? How do you guard Marshall if you're
and
the
Wilkinson?
Atlanta Express? No, sure. Yep.
Right there in the paint, bounced in and out. Good look by Cologne, but just had bad luck. Express back the other way. Bilal for 3 in the tie. Got it!
He hasn't been at his best today, but boy, when it counted, he knocked it down, ties this thing up. Under 3.5 to go.
57-57. Wilkinson working against Bilal. Doesn't get it to go. We'll have a whistle underneath. The ball off of the Express. Inbounds for Elite.
Nice pass. Feet are set. Hits him right in rhythm. Knocked down by Bilal. Riverwood will be in the thick of things this year as they continue to get better.
No doubt. Curry on the low block, got a size advantage, got fouled by Baker. That'll be the 6th team foul on Express. The next one puts them over the limit and puts Game Elite into the bonus.
Boy, what Curry does so well is he finds open spaces and he knows where to post, he knows when to pop. Really, really good basketball IQ.
24/7 Sports has, in their composite rankings, Curry ranked as the #1 prospect in the state of Tennessee. And he just shoots Elite back into a 2-point lead.
My guess is his family can stop contributing to that 529.
Baker, the drive, shot contested by Richards, and a foul's going to be called on him. So that'll put Antonio Baker at the line. You know, you come to the gym and you say, well, today I may see something I've never seen before in my life. It happened to me today when Baker, at the end of the first overtime, when they were playing AC Georgia, stole the ball. All AC Georgia had to do was run out the clock. He stole the ball, calmly turned around in the corner, nailed a 3 to send the game to a second overtime, and they won. I've never seen a play like that in my life. AC Georgia had the win in their back pocket. And
trying
Baker
to beat
just,
Big Brother, so to speak.
Yeah.
As Garrett Rapace does such a good job with the AC Georgia program, but just couldn't get the win here earlier this morning.
1-point lead for Elite, 2.5 to go. Baker gets knocked to the floor. He'll go to the foul line. Antonio Baker, as I just related in that story, is a guy that you got to watch because they're here playing in this championship game because he took over the final minutes and seconds of that quarterfinal game earlier this morning.
That is exactly right.
And he's a guy that will do that, and he's kind of doing that right now as we're down to 2:32 to go in regulation.
And that's what it takes. You know, there's some guys, hey, how good are they? How good are they in the last 4 minutes of a game? Mentally, physically, emotionally, do they have that stamina? He certainly has the it factor.
He's been offered by Kennesaw State, their new head coach, Antoine Petway from Alabama. Remember him as a player and then a longtime assistant there on the Alabama staff.
All 3 Alabama assistants this year in this spring go
Got
on to
bump
get
bumps.
division. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever heard of 3 full-time assistants from one staff leaving. A credit to Nate Oates and each of those coaches.
Coach Henry now at Georgia Southern. So Baker for the tie. Missed on both attempts.
And was flat, and you wonder a little bit there if he didn't use his legs quite enough. Is there some fatigue?
Wilkinson step through, left-handed scoop and one.
Plays at such a good pace. He allowed things to develop, allowed that lane to open up, and then finished with the left. Little Euro step.
Really like his game, scored 14 points a year ago in Game Elite's 16 and under championship game victory. Well, he had nearly that many in the first half today. And he's given Elite a 61-58 lead. He's at the line when we come back from the timeout with a chance to put them up by 4.
Well, both teams, they know how to win. These coaches, Chris Williams, Winfred Jordan, you know, these are more than just all-star teams that show up. They're well coached. They stand for something. Most of these kids have grown up in these programs in an age where guys move around so often among teams when they don't get enough playing time.
Well, isn't that the key for a successful head coach in the travel ball circuit, is getting the individual to play for the collective?
No,
because,
well
hey, look,
yep.
I mean, it's a showcase. You're here to showcase your individual talents, right?
Yep.
That's the name of the game. Getting that player to do that while also buying into the team concept, I think that's the big key. That's what
easier
makes it
said than
successful.
done, but you're exactly right, Matt. And both Chris Williams, Winford Jordan do that exceptionally well. And I think their track record proves that guys know when they come into the Express or the Game Elite program, hey, they're going to have to be selfless at times, but they know the coach is going to help promote them, showcase them as best they can.
Well, the lead stays at 3 as we've seen a couple of crucial missed free throws here in the last 2.5. And again, I think, fatigue's going to play into that. Bilal, the scoop and the miss, and Kerouac with another follow. And the lead's down to 1.
No fatigue in those legs.
How about Cole Kerouac coming up with a couple of big dunks here in the second half. Three-pointer. Express a chance for the lead. Ahead to Bilal. Bilal. And that's going to be an offensive foul. Here's the dunk by Kerouac. Meantime, the offensive foul sends the ball back the other way. Wilkinson working against Bilal. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Ball goes inside to Marshall. Working against Kerouac, and Marshall with a thunderous dunk. Lead back to 3.
Well, he's got such a good feel. He pivoted away from the double team coming. I think you got to love, though, this shot clock just really provides opportunity both ways. Critical turnover.
Intercepted by Wilkinson. He's on the drive. He gets fouled on the play, and he'll be going to the free throw line.
Boy, Marshall, just when you think he's tired, he's not going to be able to move. A terrific spin move to the baseline and finish.
Coach, he did the exact same thing in the semifinal game against AE5 earlier today with a couple of big dunks, kind of the nails in the coffin, if you will, in that 81-78 semifinal win.
You talked about it earlier, how he got in foul trouble in the state championship game. Kell ended up winning, but yet that's the thing. If he can continue to get in shape and he can stay out of foul trouble, boy, the sky's the limit. I mean, he is just scratching the surface.
So a 5-point lead for Game Elite with 54 seconds left in regulation. Okay, Coach, let's get inside that Atlanta Express huddle with Coach Winford Jordan. What's the message here? Down 5 in less than a minute to go.
Well, I think you're going to put the ball in Bilal's hands and play off of a high pick and roll. Certainly you don't need a 3. You just need the best shots right now. And I say shots plurally because you're going to get multiple possessions. I think he's talking as much defensively also. How are we going to contain, how are we going to guard Peyton Marshall? How are we going to contain Jeremiah Wilkinson and others when they've got the ball?
How concerned are you getting that shot, getting these points before it goes under 30 seconds?
Well, I think at this point with 54, I don't think you
got
talk
plenty of time
right now. Yeah, but after that, the Express have one timeout in their pocket. I think Coach Jordan would like to keep it. So I think you're talking, but the clock continues to run in this situation. It's not like it's in college or NBA where it stops. So I think you want to try to hurry but not rush, take the best shot available. And then defensively, I think you've got a chance to go one more without fouling if you score on this possession.
Ball comes into Baker. Being guarded by Cologne. Baker gets a screen. Baker on the drive with the left hand, gets it up over Marshall. How about that? And a timeout called by Express.
Well, the Game Elite did such a good job defending the three-point line, it opened things up, and then, boy, what an acrobatic finish right there.
He was able to hang in the air, and that was able to get him past Marshall. Marshall was poised there for the block, but the great hang time by Baker on that drive.
I'm not sure the Express wanted to call that timeout, but after burning 23, 24 seconds there on that possession, I don't think there was any question that was the right move by Coach Jordan.
I believe they put one more second back on the clock, so you're at 35 instead of 34. Okay, how about for Game Elite? How do you play this possession with the lead and 30-second shot clock, 35 in the game clock?
Quickly, you're talking about your press offense because you know you're going to see some pressure up front.
If you don't get the steal, if you're Express, at what point do you foul?
I think under 20, I think you can have maybe 2, if not 3 traps. And at that point, I don't think you can let Game Elite burn 29, 30 seconds off the clock.
Inbounds comes to Curry. Cologne, they get it across.
I think you've got one more chance at a double team, and then you've got to think about fouling if you're the Express.
We're under 20 now. In the corner, there's your trap. Curry has to call a timeout with 13 seconds.
And there's the value of having 2 timeouts in your back pocket. Kind of the Dean Smith rule. Always have at least 1 under a minute, have 2 under 2 minutes. Boy, Curry got trapped in the corner, but being able to call a timeout, they were able to burn 22 seconds off the clock. But a difficult place to inbounds there in the deep corner.
No doubt. Now, defensively, how do you play this for Express? Because you're down to 8 on the shot clock. Would you dare run that thing all the way down and leave yourself, let's say they take a shot, with 6 on the shot clock, leave yourself, and they miss, leave you with 7 to try to get 3?
Yeah, I think at this point you are. I think you talk about switching everything. Most importantly, how do you try to keep the ball out of Marshall's hands? Because I think he's going to be potentially that outlet with that 8.5, 9-foot reach.
Is he getting the ball off the inbounds?
Yes. Yep. I think that's the first look.
Instead, it goes up top. The drive by Wilkinson and 1. And that might have been the championship clincher right there by Jeremiah Wilkinson.
Boy, and he started that move toward the basket with like 10.5 seconds, and you wondered why, but boy, he had enough confidence to drive the lane and finish.
And Jeremiah Wilkinson with a chance to make it a 6-point lead with 8.7 left in regulation. And he does. And time running out for Express. Bilal launches a quick 3 and hits it, gives them an opportunity, but they have no timeouts remaining. And that is going to do it. 68-65 the final as Game Elite wins the 17 and under championship, the 4th Battle for Georgia championship for the Game Elite program.
Wow, what a game. I mean, it has been a fantastic day of basketball here at the Champion Center at LakePoint Sports. And believe it or not, we've got another one, but boy, this was a battle from the start. We talked about Jeremiah Wilkinson in the first half. He led all scorers with 14, and then when it mattered most, he had that 3-point play with 8 seconds to go to seal it for Game Elite.
Yeah, wow, what a performance by Jeremiah Wilkinson today as he leads Game Elite to the 68-65 championship over Atlanta Express.
I thought it was interesting, though. I thought everybody who played on both sides had some sort of an impact on this game. Up and down, it wasn't just 1 or 2 guys for Game Elite or just a couple for the Express. And by the way, you've got to take your hat off to the Express for hanging in there. Limited roster. Got through 2 tough games, a quarterfinal and then a semifinal win. Nonetheless, Game Elite picks up the victory and proves that they are the best 17 and under team in the state of Georgia in 2023.
Well, as a run it back for Game Elite, they won this team. This team won it last year in the 16 and under, and they win it again here in the 17 and under, and a couple of really tough battles for them back to back after they had a 16-point win against OTP National in the quarterfinals this morning, came back this afternoon in the noontime hour and beat AE5 81-78 in the semifinals, a game in which they trailed for most of the game and pulled it away down the stretch. And then here a 68-65 victory over Atlanta Express to win the championship, as they're now posing for the group and team photo there at the Battle for Georgia logo. What a great Sunday afternoon for those fellas. 3 wins in about 6 hours. How about that for stamina? Tremendous performance by Game Elite to win the title, and the 16 and under championship game is still to come, and it's going to be the same group, just 16 and under. We're going to have Atlanta Express taking on Game Elite in the 16 and under championship game. We'll step aside and take a break. We'll have more from the Champion Center right after this timeout.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
Back at the Champion Center, LakePoint Sports, the battle for Georgia. RYZE Hoops 17 and under championship goes to Game Elite with a 68-65 victory over Atlanta Express. We're joined by head coach Chris Williams. First of all, congratulations. What do you feel like was the key to victory? Because this was a tight ball game. You guys jumped out to about an 8-point lead early in the second half, but after that it was nip and tuck the rest of the way.
Yeah, the guys was tired. Just playing a lot of games this weekend. Peyton coming back from playing 8 games in NBA Top 100. We was missing Caleb, but they was tired. Jeremiah stepped up big in the second half and in the first half. Really, he's been stepping up big all weekend. And we had a lot of guys banged up, so we just had to fight through and pull it out at the end.
Absolutely. I'm impressed that they're able to even play a third game, much less win a third game,
right,
and that third game be a championship. You just won 3 games in about 6 hours.
Right, right.
So what's the key from a coaching standpoint to managing minutes and managing the game plan to work within that kind of framework?
Management is like what you said, is managing the minutes and managing the expectations, really. Because we use this to get ready for, obviously, next week with the live period. We head to Rock Hill for Adidas, but we use this to catapult us into that. So I use that to give them fuel to one, have 2 off days without practicing if we win. If not, we're going to be in the gym. So they rather not practice and heal up to get ready for July rather than lose in the championship game.
Yeah, that no practice is always a nice carrot to hang in front of their face, right?
Right.
Tell us about Jeremiah Wilkinson. What a performance by him today. Had a fabulous first half, and then there again in the second half, you know, after Curry came in. We'll talk about him in a moment. Curry came on and kind of took over there for a while, but it was Wilkinson again down the stretch and hitting the big free throws.
Jeremiah even had a huge day all 3 games, really, defensively and offensively, making the extra pass and knowing when to step up and being dog when we need him to. He's a winner all the way around. So when I need to call on him to step up, especially with CJ being banged up, he stepped up.
Loved what I saw from Elijah Curry, the young man from Memphis East, one of the few guys on the roster who's not a Georgia player. But I thought he played a heck of a ball game, especially took over in the second half.
Yeah, in the second half, he went on a little spurt there where I think he scored like 8 straight buckets. But he's just stepped up big. He's a winner, too. He had a huge high school year at Memphis East. And just, you know, he comes from that Memphis pedigree where he's just a winner and wants to be a dog, and he's not going to just step back down from anybody. So he stepped up, made some huge plays, and made some big shots.
Had the opportunity to call Peyton Marshall in Kell's 5A championship victory back in March, and he looks like a little bit of a different player to me. He looks like he's a little bit more in shape than he was at that point. I see that his game has really progressed.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight. He's still slimming down, and he's starting to get footwork and touch is really what he's been working on. And just finishing through the basket. I mean, obviously he's always going to get double wherever we go, with whoever we play. So now he's just finishing through contact and playing and using his body the right way.
Well, Chris, congratulations.
Thank
Back-to-back titles for you guys. Y'all won it in 16 and under. You'll win it again here in 17 and under. Congratulations on that.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, sir. Chris Williams, the head coach of Game Elite, 68-65 winners over Atlanta Express in the 17 and under Battle for Georgia championship game. The 16 and under championship game is still ahead. And welcome back to LakePoint Sports Champion Center. Time now for the 6th annual Battle for Georgia 16 and under championship game. And guess what? It's the same group of combatants, just 1 year younger, as Game Elite takes on Atlanta Express in this 16 and under championship game. Wow, what a first game we just had, and a 68-65 victory for Game Elite in the 17 and unders. What do we expect here in the 16 and unders?
Well, much of the same. I think high-level basketball play by just a year younger. A little bit of a surprise that the Atlanta Express are here. They have probably been the biggest surprise here of the afternoon, regardless of age division. Game Elite was really expected to be here. So, hey, look, same names, same programs, different names, but we're going to see some high-level basketball at both ends.
And the surprise coming with a 74-71 victory for Atlanta Express over the
Atlanta Celtics.
Atlanta
right? That's
Celtics
exactly
probably
right.
the top-seeded team if they were seeded, which they weren't, but considered to be the number one team in the field for the 16 and under.
Yeah, I think everybody assumed that the Celtics would just kind of march through the quarters and semis, and then the Express gave them all they could handle and came up at the end, making a couple of free throws to secure that three-point victory.
I'm just really impressed what we just saw in the 17 and under championship game and the stamina of these athletes, and certainly you saw some fatigue set in, but it never really manifested itself in sloppy play.
No, great point. I mean, we mentioned it countless times. It's the third game in as many as 6 hours, really, for these guys. And it's easy to say, well, they're young, right? They've got fresh legs. But many of these guys have been playing at the NBA Players Camp down in Orlando last week. There's been some that have been in other tournaments. Almost all of them played in the GHSA team camps here at LakePoint Sports the last 2 weekends. So a lot of basketball. It's getting warm because of the crowd in here. So you just applaud these guys for mentally, physically, and emotionally just hanging in there and competing at a high level.
So we're getting ready for the 16 and under championship game right after this.
Only 2 independent programs received invites to the 2023 Battle for Georgia, one of them being Wood Elite.
It means a lot. You know what I mean? I think we should be there, though. I don't mean that in no cocky way, but I think we should be there. You know, we've beat some big-name programs. We competitive with a lot of big-name programs. So to us, I mean, it means a lot.
Wood Elite has only been around for a few short years and has quickly gained respect in the Southeast, putting on several big performances on the RYZE Hoops stage.
We got a team full of passionate coaches, so it's not a one-man army over here. It's a lot of us. I mean, it's 24 teams in the program between boys and girls, but we got a lot of hungry and passionate coaches.
The next goal for the program is to become a shoe sponsor team themselves.
Long term for the program, I think for us is to become a shoe team program. Just, you know, to provide a bigger platform for us. Maybe even help our kids get seen a little bit more. You know what I mean? As far as more opportunity for them to be able to have a chance to get college looks.
Wood Elite making a nice run in this tournament, reaching the semifinals in both the 17 and the 16.
Yeah, and you hear from Quentin Wood right there, who started this program just a couple of years ago. He's got some great coaches. It was kind of that little engine that could out of Cherokee County a couple of years ago. They are now a major player in grassroots basketball in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, they're one of the few programs that come through this tournament unsponsored. They don't have a major backer.
Yeah, many of these, like, you know, Atlanta Express sponsored by Under Armour, Game Elite by Adidas. Most teams aspire, but you can find your way to the top if you're, quote, an independent, and Wood Elite certainly has at multiple age divisions.
Well, running down the minutes until we tip off the 16 and under championship. Again, Game Elite taking on Atlanta Express in our 16 and under championship game. So a little bit of a surprise there if you were expecting to see the Atlanta Celtics. They were knocked out by Atlanta Express in the semifinals. We'll come back and get that game started right after this timeout.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Back at the LakePoint Sports Champion Center, the 16 and under RYZE Hoops Battle for Georgia championship game on deck. Following our 17 and under championship game, in which Game Elite beat Atlanta Express 68-65. Matt Stewart joined by Coach Dean Keener as the teams take the floor here for our final championship of the day. What a fun day it's been. You mentioned at the grassroots level, one of the top one-day events here in the Southeast.
Yeah, there's been some fantastic games, always are. This being the 6th annual battle for Georgia, started by RYZE Hoops, Dan McDonald, Carter Wilson, and and this has evolved into something that all teams, regardless if they're an independent or they're shoe sponsored, they want to be here come Sunday and be one of those 8 teams to try to advance through the quarters, the semis, and now as we see the 16U finals.
So Davin Neal getting ready to jump things for Atlanta Express. And the opening tip is won by Game Elite. And ahead it comes, and the layup.
Game Elite with the quick start right there. Both teams with good size, good guard play.
Wing 3. And the rebound controlled by Game Elite.
Keep an eye on number 5 right there, Deke Cooper for the Atlanta Express. He's a guy that can put points on the board in a hurry.
Corner 3, nailed it. Caden Rickard puts Atlanta Express on top by a point.
I think both teams, again, similar to that 17U final, they want to get up and down. They want to play fast offensively. I don't know that you'll see a lot of pressure defense in the full court, again, because of the third game in about 6.5 hours for each team.
4-3 lead for Game Elite. Back the other way, and the scoop and the foul going to be called on Elite. That'll put Marcus Smith at the line. So Marcus Smith steps up to the line. He came up big for them in their victory over the Atlanta Celtics in the semifinals. Misses the first free throw. Just underway in the 16 and under championship game, battle for Georgia. Atlanta Express in the white uniforms and Game Elite in the black. Ball challenged underneath and dribbling on the baseline, Caden Rickard. There'll be a turnover for Atlanta Express. The officials talking it over, make sure they got the call right. 16-minute halves. They don't play quarters, but 16-minute halves. You get 7 fouls before you get to the bonus. 6, and then the 7th puts you in the bonus. And there's the jumper. 4-point lead for Game Elite. Long-range three-pointer, nicely done. Davin Neal strokes it. Lead's been cut to 1. Tyus Jordan up top, gives it up. Cameron Stephen. Off back iron. Ahead it comes for Express. And the layup. Puts Express on top. Timeout called by Game Elite.
I don't think Coach liked what he saw right there. Just too much up and down. The Express with a quick 8-7 lead. Game Express, watch this right here. You go for the steal and then you don't sprint back in transition. Interesting that you get 4 timeouts and then there's that media at the under 8. Coach is not used to having that in a situation like this. How do you utilize those? You know, and coaches use timeouts for different reasons. Sometimes it's for rest. Sometimes it's to really get after their guys. Sometimes it's just not to keep them grounded. There's a variety of reasons that a coach utilizes a timeout.
Well, you see here the early going, first couple of minutes, it looks like Atlanta Express wants to get out and score in transition. They've been successful with that a couple of times already. Ball stripped away by Express.
This Express team, you're right, they're athletic, quick hands, you saw right there defensively.
And the backhand reverse there by Marcus Smith. Nice drive penetration. Twisted his body like a pretzel, got the layup. 3-point lead for Express. The elbow jumper off the mark by Bynum. Back the other way, long tip in, put back attempt on the other side. Stolen away.
Davin Neal kept that alive, and then, boy, you kind of recycle another offensive possession. Nice job right there. Neal won't get credit for the rebound, but now his team going to the line with a chance to earn a couple at the charity stripe.
Yeah, you can't turn your back on Marcus Smith. They got the rebound, and he came from behind and tomahawked it out of the rebounder's hands. Deke Cooper at the line, 3-point lead for Express. Rastelli checks into the ball game for Game Elite.
Rastelli from Chattanooga just over the line. We talked about it earlier. Teams are allowed to have a maximum of 3 players outside the state on their roster to be eligible for a Battle for Georgia title. Zane Rastelli, well respected. He really does play the point guard at that 6'5" height at the Baylor School in Chattanooga.
Wild shot by Bynum, then he commits the foul. Shane Bynum called for the foul.
He'll be at the KIPP School this year after being at Mary Washington the last couple.
4-point lead for Express. One of the things I wanted to touch on in this game compared to the 17 and under and the 16 and under, how is the recruiting process for these players in the 16 and under compared to the 17 and unders? How much does that year mean as far as the recruiting process?
Well, it means a lot sometimes in the development of players, but I think college coaches at the highest level, call it the Power 5, Power 6, if you factor in the Big East,
right?
They're watching the kids in the junior class. I think the rest of guys at Division I, Division II, and III, now with the transfer portal, they're really not as interested in watching the younger kids during live periods or broadcasts like this.
Underneath, Bynum with the stick in. 11-9 Express on top.
And Bynum is the go-to guy for this Game Elite team. When they need a basket, they generally will go to him.
A traveling call on Carter.
And that was the right call. Now, excuse me, there's no question. I thought the official was going to call a hand check, but Carter did shuffle the feet before putting the ball on the deck.
11-9 Atlanta Express on top here in the opening 4 minutes of the 16 and under championship game. McLean backing in, and an offensive foul.
Rastelli he made that post pass. And the reason I bring that up is, here's a kid that, a couple of nights a week, he's having to travel from Chattanooga 80, 90, 100 miles to a practice. But it's the value of and the good that's involved in youth sports, right? Being able to find your niche. If you want to play at a high level, you can find that. And parents, look, they'll do what they need to for their kids many times.
Casper Poto with the basket. Express up by 4.
Watch it here again, a little hesitation, and then the pull-up. Nice finish right there. Kind of a dribble drive, dribble handoff offense.
And Rastelli's going to be called for the offensive foul.
Rastelli's having a hard time getting by that Express defender, regardless of who it is. I'm impressed with this Express team. When we came in here this morning, Carter Wilson was singing the praises of the Atlanta Celtics, and rightfully so, but watching that Express team in the second half with the victory, and now here through the first 5+ minutes, impressive.
Traveling call. McLean shuffled his feet. Not a lot of lag time, especially for Game Elite.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I
They
know
beat
where you're
the
going
Georgia
with this.
Stars in the semifinals.
Yeah, their court got behind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And they actually started a lot later because the game in front of them went overtime. So they haven't had a whole lot of rest coming into this final.
That was a double overtime game, right? That was
Yeah.
the Express winning a 17U game, and as you can imagine, you in a travel or grassroots situation, right? Their games are scheduled at certain times, and if one court gets by, there's nowhere else to put the teams. So you're right. I mean, this Game Elite team probably playing on 25 to 30 minutes of rest time from their second game.
Yeah, they're still sweating. They haven't been able to dry off from their last game, the semifinal victory, before they got out onto the floor here for this final. And Express up by 4 with 10:25 to play here in the opening half.
Well, they had enough time, though, to watch their older brothers, if you will, not literally, but to see the 17U team capture that victory. And you know that somehow that's had to inspire them. Generally, teams will practice together or at least overlap at a high school or a venue like the Champion Center here as they prepare for grassroots tournaments.
So the 16 and under, these are 2025s and 2026s.
That is correct. Yep.
That's rising juniors, rising sophomores at the high school level. Bynum at the foul line. Rebound controlled by Carter. Carter drives, gets fouled on the play. Was it on the floor or on the shot? It's going to be on the shot.
You make an interesting point. Sometimes it's hard to tell the size or the athleticism or the quickness of kids this age unless you're like you are at the venue. It's not unlike NASCAR. Right? To really experience how fast or how banked those angles are of those racetracks, you have to be there. But rest assured, there are some stars of tomorrow on the court here today.
You have to wonder just about the fatigue factor for Game Elite. They have 6 team fouls, 0 for Express so far, as Express just picked up their first on what like a really clean block by Ethan Carter.
Carter looked at that official like, wow, no, there's 3 officials out here, which you love. And RYZE Hoops generally tries to do that for their tournaments. In particular, this event this weekend, it's the officials in conjunction with the Gulf South Conference, Division II conference. It encompasses a couple of states here in the Southeast.
DJ hits both of the free throws, and the lead is 2 for Express.
A lot of standing right now on this possession by the Express. A little bit too much one-on-one.
Corner 3 off the mark. Rebound, hustle by Game Elite to save it. And a foul called on Express. That'll be their second team foul.
Well, they had gone over 6 minutes without fouling, and now 2 here in the last 30 seconds.
So Mansur McLean will step up to the foul line, gets 2 free throws here. Cuts the lead to 1. Davin Neal back in the ball game for Express as Breon Barnett comes off the floor.
We'll talk about a number of guys for Game Elite, but that one right there, that kid, McLean, he is as talented as anybody on this Game Elite team. Sometimes the coaches want him to play a little bit harder, a little more focused at the defensive end. I think mainly because they know he can do it.
Neal with the step back and got the bounce off the front iron and then off the backboard. 2-point lead Express. Drive and a foul. That'll put Tyus Jordan at the line. So suddenly the foul situation is starting to even up a little bit.
Now in the 3rd straight possession that the Express have fouled, partly because they either haven't been back to build the house defensively or they're hand checking Game Elite on dribble drives.
Tyus Jordan hits the first free throw. I was making the point about the foul situation, trying to build the hypothesis that fatigue had led Elite to this foul trouble, but now Express is catching up with them.
Well, the Express with really 7 healthy bodies to go in this championship game, so the coaching staff has to manage fouls, fatigue, and everything else. It's kind of the game within the game.
Oh, the follow missed dunk by Carter. Tried to sneak in the back door there.
That would have brought the crowd to their feet.
Corner 3, Tyus Jordan puts a lead on top by 3.
Along with Bynum, Jordan out of Shiloh High School. They've been on a nice run the last couple of years.
Out of Gwinnett County. And whistle, foul's going to be called on DJ. And that'll put Davin Neal at the line. 3-point lead, game Elite.
And if you're Express and you're playing with 7 healthy bodies, this is where you can steal some time as well during free throws. You'd hope that you could get 2.
And you're already in the bonus. 17 fouls now on game Elite, so good chance to drive and get to the foul line, get some quick points. DJ underneath, battling, had it knocked away. Neal comes away with it. Loose with the dribble, turns into a turnover, another turnover. Neal steals it in midcourt, and now he has it taken away. A little sloppy right now.
Yes, it is.
Neither team can even control the basketball for more than 5 seconds, and finally a foul. That'll be number 8, and Atlanta Express will be at the foul line when we get back. Game Elite on top by 3 with 7:40 to play in the first half.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
(18-15) game Elite on top of Atlanta Express. 7:40 to play here in the first half. Matt Stewart along with Coach Dean Keener. 16 and under championship game here in the RYZE Hoops Battle for Georgia, presented by Publix.
And you know, we probably a much needed timeout. We were talking before the break right there. It got a little sloppy, 3 or 4 turnovers, but you know, that doesn't take away from the excitement that has been in this venue here really all weekend, but in particular starting at 9 a.m. this morning.
You know, and it may be fatigue, maybe not. You could have 2 teams that were well rested, hadn't played for a week, come out and do the same thing.
Sure.
Just got to get their games under control here. And a foul called on Express, and that'll be the 4th team foul as Ethan Carter picks up the personal.
And that's really a cardinal sin of basketball, fouling the jump shooter. And there's just certain things you don't want to do defensively, and that's one of them. Drives coaches crazy.
Tyus Jordan, well, for one thing, it's just math, as they like to say. You take a player and give them a 70% shot while fouling them on what was probably a 40% shot.
That's right. We've talked about it, Jordan, though, again, you know, even at his age, he is one of the guys that's got, along with Bynum for Game Elite, that's gotten a lot of attention recruiting-wise. the transfer portal has changed things, and so, but it's pretty easy to suggest that both Jordan and Bynum will be recruited at the highest Power 5 level.
Yeah, you made a great point earlier in our conversation here in this first half that the transfer portal has impacted in all the sports, not just basketball, but football and baseball, kind of the mid-range high school recruit. Programs wait to see who's coming through the transfer portal before a door opens for that mid-range game. The higher range guys, they still have their spots.
That's right.
It's the mid-range guys who have to wait a little bit longer than they did in the past. Jordan in the corner, misses the three. Rebound is controlled by Game Elite, and underneath they missed the shot. And Rastelli, I believe, is going to be called for the foul.
Nice job by Cooper going strong to the rim right there. I thought he brought 2 defenders, but he didn't have anybody to kick it to. Watch it here on the replay. He brings 2 black jerseys together. Not able to finish. He does finish, I'm sorry. 1 shot.
So a chance at the three-point play here for Cooper, and he completes it. Express back to within 1.
Cooper's a guy with good size. Now you see a little bit of pressure. We've seen it a couple times here. It's kind of a 2-2-1-2 or 2-2-1 half court by the Express.
Nearly stolen in the corner, controlled by Elite. There's a flop underneath. They don't buy it, and there's a three-pointer by Jordan.
Excellent no-call play on, and then, yes, they knock home the 3.
Neal misses the 3, gets his own miss, and then had a shot blocked by Rastelli. A lot of turnovers, both sides. I think the winner of this game might be the team that's finally able to settle down and kind of get into a flow.
Yep.
Haven't really seen that yet.
At either end, offensively or defensively, but particularly to your point, offensively, not seeing a lot of movement by either team. Right here, 2, 3 dribbles into a shot.
Nicely done. Sweet shot by Tyus Jordan on the baseline.
He's one of the top players next year, regardless of classification in the state of Georgia. But you're right, there hasn't been a lot of rhythm. And I think part of it, too, is during the month of June in the state of Georgia, teams play with their high school teams. And it's 4 weeks away from your travel team. And it takes these guys a little while to get reacclimated.
Marcus Smith, let's see, they're going to call a foul on Game Elite. Maybe caught a little bit of break right there. No, well, it's going to go against Atlanta Express. I didn't see what the call was. Not a foul. So they didn't catch a break. I thought Marcus Smith had traveled, actually.
Smith doing a nice job defensively, though, on-ball defense. So just see a lot of black shirts standing around. Not a lot of passing, a lot of dribbling to nowhere.
Six-point lead, Game Elite, just over 5 minutes to play here in the first half. And Cotton goes to the bench. Ball popped up into the air and stolen by Express. And the layup and one, Marcus Smith. Like I said earlier in this half, you can't turn your back on that guy.
No, he is jet quick, with and without the ball. I think he's their best on-ball defender, but he's probably their best with the ball in transition. Watch it here again. Gets his feet right and then able to finish with contact on the arm.
Completes the three-point play. Express has cut the Elite lead down to 3.
Well, much like the 17U game where Game Elite would try to creep away, the Express always found a way to kind of knock the door open again.
Jordan banging bodies, fall away, gets fouled on the shot, and Tyus Jordan going to the line. And he's really proving to be problematic for the Express defensively.
Well, he can face up, he can post up, he can score in a variety of ways. You know, part of it is, you know, you talked about what team can find the rhythm. You know, the Express now, they played the first 6 minutes without fouling, and now they're fouling so much that Game Elite can't get into a rhythm.
They're up to 5 team fouls. Game Elite's at 10, so double bonus for Express if they can take advantage of it. Jordan between the legs, left-handed, missed off glass. He'll go back to the line, though, and that's team foul number 6 on Express.
Boy, a nifty move for a guy that size. He went behind the back and then between the legs and tried to finish with his left.
He's got a lot of skill in that bag of his. 2 free throws. Gotta take care of the free points right there. Poto checks back in for Express as Rickard comes off the floor. Five-point lead for Game Elite.
Well, this tournament, as good as it is, also helps get these teams ready for the next live period, meaning college coaches can be in attendance, and Under Armour Association will be here starting Thursday, July 6th. The Adidas teams, Game Elite, Atlanta Celtics, they'll be in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and the top Nike teams will be in Augusta, Georgia for the Peach Jam.
Yep. Rastelli gets fouled on the drive.
College coaches like when the 3 apparel companies have events in close proximity so that they can watch all day, drive at night, and be ready at the next spot the next morning and not have to jump on a plane. And then you'll find some top independent tournaments in the Atlanta or within the Southeast. So really, from July 6th through the 9th, the Southeast and Atlanta will be the hub for 15 to 17U boys basketball.
I thought you were going to say the coaches liked it because of the swag.
Well, that too.
7-point lead for Game Elite. Three-pointer off back iron, rebound controlled by Carter, puts it on the floor and loses it. Bynum too far underneath.
Boy, an athletic catch, but just to your point, just couldn't finish.
Step back 3, Cooper gets it right back. This time drives into the defense, loses the dribble. Elite beats him to the floor. And the layup. McClain puts it in off glass, and a 9-point lead for Game Elite. Express calls timeout.
And probably the right timeout to just, even with 3:18 before halftime, well, you don't want this thing to balloon any bigger. Game Elite on a run. The Express having some difficulties guarding in the half court, and now at the offensive end taking some quick shots.
Yeah, well, this is the biggest lead that we've had in either game. I think Elite got out to an 8-point lead on Express early in the second half, but Express quickly made up the difference. We'll see if their 16 and under counterparts can do the same right here.
And if you're in that Game Elite huddle, you're just talking about sharing the basketball, continuing to play around Bynum and Jordan, and then defensively, just keep your man in front of you. Don't have to do anything spectacular. No home runs, just a lot of singles. Don't get beat off the bounce.
But to answer the question that we posed earlier in the first half, Elite is the first team that finally has been able to settle down a little bit. And a foul called on Elite. That's their 11th foul of the half, and 2 shots coming up here for Marcus Smith.
Smith really the only Express player that's been able to get by Game Elite defenders, whether it's in transition or in a half court. Lefty's been pretty solid here in the first half.
Strokes the first free throw, makes it 32-24. 3+ minutes left here in the first half of the 16 and under championship game, and this is as quiet as the entire complex has been the entire day. Then we're down to our final game of the day. I mean, the place has been buzzing since 10 a.m. this morning and been buzzing all week, Friday through Saturday and now into Sunday with this Battle for Georgia championship tournament.
Yeah, the qualifier Friday and Saturday, kind of a last chance, and then today 24 teams converge on the Champion Center. As you see a missed shot right there by McLean.
But I just enjoyed walking between the courts and just watching a great play here and a great play there and a great play right there by Bynum on the slam, and the lead back to 9.
Well said, friend. You're right. I mean, and that's the neat thing about the Champion Center is, well, when the curtains are up and you see all 12 courts, you can see the scoreboards and you recognize, boy, this game's in overtime. And you hear the crowd and you kind of find your way to another court. And it was that way throughout the morning and early afternoon.
It's kind of like in the NCAA tournament when they have their, the full court coverage, and they've got 4 screens, and you can go and choose which one you want to watch real quick, depending upon the circumstance in the game. Drop pass by Rastelli is intercepted. Poto on the break. Poto, scoop shot, miss. Battle for the rebound. Smith ends up with it and puts it in. He's everywhere.
He has been the lone bright spot really on a consistent basis for this Express 16U team in the first half.
7-point lead for a lead under 2 to go in the first half. Jordan misses the 3.
He's capable from there, but if you're the Express, you can live with that.
Wow, tomahawked out of there, but right into the hands of Poto. Misses the 3. Neal missed the tip, and the put in by Barnett.
Just like that, the lead cut in half.
Little push here by Express to get back in the game and cut the distance between the two right before halftime.
It started at the defensive end by the Express.
McLean offensive foul.
McLean almost kind of walking back like he's upset. He's a little disinterested, if you will. Nice job defensively by the Express the last couple of possessions.
61 seconds left here in the first half. Express was down by 9 just a few moments ago, and a chance to really climb back in this game before halftime. Smith kick out. Poto, the runner, he got fouled on top of the head. So Poto going to the line for 2 shots.
And just like that, things have switched. The Express turned up the defense.
Plus the foul trouble for Game Elite has allowed Express to get back in this because every foul's now a 2-shot foul for them.
Yep. Game Elite staff kind of having to manage some foul situations. And you're exactly right. This now, numerous times they've gone to the line for 2 shots, whether it's shooting or not, double bonus situation.
Rastelli has it knocked out of his hands. 22 on the shot clock. Difference of 17 seconds, game clock, shot clock.
And look, if you're the Express now, if you're the coaching staff, you're saying, guys, dig in. We're going to turn this into a 1-possession game if we can come up with a stop.
Jordan missed the shot. Controlled by Elite. Express gets it. Shot clock off, ahead it comes. Neal, low block. Had it swiped away and out of bounds off Game Elite with 18.3.
And Neal there, 23. White got away with what might have been a little bit of a push on Bynum. Nonetheless, opportunity right here to pull within 1 or tie it.
Neal has it stolen away right out of his hands, and the layup by Edgerton. Back the other way, they beat him on the transition.
Nifty pass right there, great vision by Smith.
And the end of the first half in a 36-33 game. And Atlanta Express able to dig in in the final 2 minutes, get back in this thing after it looked like they were in trouble. They'd fallen down by 9. 36-33 here at the half at LakePoint.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one,
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
It started with a simple idea. To break what the game knows. To evolve the standard. It's time to revolutionize defense. Printed in 4D for a breakthrough in technology. Ultra lightweight, resilient, form fit, game ready and pro tested. Designed for a revolution. Engineered for defense. The Rev 1X.
Halftime here at the 16 and under championship game, the RYZE Hoops Battle for Georgia at LakePoint Champion Center, and a 36-33 lead for Game Elite as they're going for a sweep here. Game Elite won the 17 and under, a 3-point victory over Express, and now they have a 3-point lead here in the 16 and under. Tyus Jordan leading scorer. He's got 15 in the first half.
Yeah, he's been really good. Marcus Smith for the Express leads them with 11. But yeah, Jordan has been really good. Kind of picked up where Bynum hasn't been able to get him over the hump. You just get the feeling, even though the Express continue to close the gap, this Game Elite team just has so much talent and so much confidence. If they can share the basketball and limit turnovers, I think they've got a chance to have the double dip, if you will, here this afternoon in the 16s and 17s.
We saw at the end of the first half a little bit of sign that maybe the teams are kind of getting their rhythm a little bit. It was really sloppy early on in the ball game, and Express made a push. They were in danger of maybe getting blown out here as much as you can be in the first half. They were down 9.
Yeah, again, we talked about it throughout the first half, and some of in the 17 championship, are guys fatigued? Third game of the day. Are they still trying to find their rhythm, having played with their high school team in the month of June, and this is the first time they've really been together in about 30 to 40 days? I'm not sure what it is, but your point's exactly right. I think the team that can play the best team ball at both ends will find themselves as champions here of the 16U division.
Halftime here, 36-33. We'll step aside for another timeout and get ready for the second half in just a moment.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Back at LakePoint Sports Champion Center, let's take a look at some of the legendary alumni who have played in this battle for Georgia over the last 6 years. Anthony Edwards, of course, now with the Minnesota Timberwolves, former Georgia Bulldog, #1 draft pick. Jabari Smith, former Sandy Creek star, now at the Houston Rockets. Bruce Thornton with Ohio State. Isaiah Collier now heading out to Southern Cal after leading Wheeler to another championship.
Yeah, it's just every year there's just a massive amount of talent here at the 15, 16, and 17U divisions. You know, future stars of tomorrow. And to your point, you know, Trayvon Walker, the #1 pick in the NFL draft in 2022 by the Jacksonville Jaguars, played in this event. We've had a number of guys that have gone on to Georgia and other SEC football powerhouses that have been really good basketball players at the high school level.
And thanks for joining us on this Sunday, 4th of July weekend. Perhaps if your first chance to get a look inside LakePoint Sports Champion Center here in Emerson, Georgia, Bartow County. Nice little gym up I-75, about 30 minutes north of the city of Atlanta.
Well, it's been a full spring, and as we lead into summer on the LakePoint campus, you know, baseball, PBR tournaments, prep baseball report. There's multiple tournaments, soccer, lacrosse 7-on-7 out at our multi-purpose fields. We've got a 10-court beach volleyball pavilion, and then the Champion Center. And it's such a team unit that does it all together. The LakePoint team, but also we talk about, you know, the community, the city of Emerson,
right,
the county of Bartow. So many key players that help put all this together.
Just a spectacular facility. If you hadn't had a chance to come up here and visit, I called the PBR 16 and under national championship in baseball earlier this week, and now basketball this weekend. Man, I've had a great 4th of July holiday week just leading up to this with all the great sports I've been able to get a chance to watch here, and these great young athletes. So much fun to see this generation of athlete participating in those two sports.
Well, we appreciate you being on the team this weekend or the last couple of days. It's been a blast, and to your point, I mean, there have been we talk about the alumni for the Battle of Georgia, as you see a nifty move right there.
Yeah, DJ with the basket, 5-point lead for Elite. We got another great half to go to close out our week, and a 16 and under championship on the line right here at LakePoint Sports Champion Center.
Champion Center, if it's the first time you've been here, you're watching it on this broadcast, 12 basketball courts that convert to 24 volleyball. But this court here, court 5, generally the main court, and I think kids recognize when they play on court 5, it's going to mean something a little bit more.
Court 5 for the championship. Here comes Express. They're down 5 early second half. Marcus Smith on the dribble. He had 11 points to lead Express in that first half. Poto lost the dribble, picked it up. Still plenty of time, playing with the 30-second shot clock. Smith and the 1. Wow.
Well, a little bit of a
I thought
trip.
He was out of control,
yeah,
but apparently he wasn't.
Well, I'll hedge you the bet on that. I think he was out of control, but I think he was able to finish. What great body control. He got tripped, and with the left hand was able to put just enough English off the glass to finish. Chance at 3 points right here.
Another 3-point play for Marcus Smith. That gives him 14 in the game. Tyus Jordan leading scorer for Game Elite with 15 in the first half. His pass inside ends up in the hands of DJ. Nice touch pass and a foul called on Express. Or perhaps not, he just lost it out of bounds.
Collectively, good defense right there by the Express team. You're right, had a little difficulty. I thought the official clinched their fist right there to Manor to call a foul.
Poto traveled. Casper Poto, number 21 for Express, 6 points in the first half. In fact, most of their points in the first half came from a collection of 3 players, Smith, Poto, and Cooper. Battle for it in the corner and bounced out of bounds by Express.
Camera crew got to watch out down there. Can be a dangerous job on the baseline.
Hazard pay. 38-36, game of lead on the inbounds. Jordan backing in. Drop step to the low block and puts it in. 2 more for Jordan. That gives him 17.
He never saw the double team come, so he just muscled his way to the rim right there. Nice finish.
17 of their 40.
And it's come in a variety of ways. Right there, he kind of just played a little bully ball, but he's got a soft touch, had a couple of fadeaways.
They go inside to Neal, left it short, got his own miss, then he got fouled on the play. Edgerton will be called for the foul.
Watch Jordan on that last possession, just dips his shoulder and gets by Cooper. Knew he had a size advantage. To your point, boy, he has been the biggest part of this offense for Game Elite.
Poto comes off the floor for Express, and Barnett back on the floor. Neal gets the second of the 2 free throws, and it's a 3-point game with 13.5 to go in regulation.
The Express now showing a little 2-3 zone right here, trying to switch things up a little bit. That's what you got to do. You got to attack the high post and go inside out.
Rastelli misses the 3. Offensive rebound for Elite. Foul called on Neal.
That can also be the problem in the zone, is no real dedicated block-out situation, and you've just got to find somebody in that zone. Unfortunately, the Express not able to do it right there, and McLean comes up with the rebound.
Mansur McNeil at the line hits the first free throw. 4-point lead for Game Elite. Make it 2, and the lead is 5. Barnett, the drive, left-handed scoop. He gets knocked to the floor, and the foul on Game Elite.
A terrific ball fake right there. Acted like he was going to go one way to the right and then came back left.
That's 4 team fouls here on Game Elite in the opening 3+ minutes of this second half. They had 10+.
That's right, you talked about it, and that was a big part of the Express being able to stick around and stay close because they were in the double bonus.
Yeah, Express got to the bonus with 8 minutes left in the first half and quickly got to the double bonus after that. DJ strokes it. 6-point lead again for Elite. Look at that move. Shake and bake. Marcus Smith gives him 16.
That's exactly what it was. A little shake, got the defender out of his defensive stance, and then finished at the rim.
Jordan the drive and stick in, and 1 for Tyus Jordan.
Jordan proving why he is one of the top kids in the class of 25 in the state of Georgia. He is a tough one-on-one matchup. It really requires multiple efforts by his defender as well as others to keep him corralled.
Going for his 20th point right here with the free throw. Everybody kind of stood around and forgot that it was an and 1. So 19 for Jordan. The lead is 6 for Elite. Ball loose, recovered by Express. Smith ends up with it. Look at him go. My goodness, Marcus Smith with 18. Got the bounce on the other end by Cotton.
Back to that last play by Marcus Smith. That is about the 3rd time we've seen an acrobatic play. The problem was so many guys on both teams just wanted to dribble up the basketball rather than dive on the floor and get it.
Well, what was amazing about that play, it starts with him on his butt.
Yep.
And it ends up with him scoring.
He gets it, He recognizes there's no rim protection by Game Elite, and then he finishes with contact.
What a show by Marcus Smith. Cooper the drive and the put in. That gives him 8.
Yeah, that's the first time this half we've seen Cooper really put his head down to try to get to the rim. Jordan again, if he sees a one-on-one, he's going to take that Express defender.
Got a size advantage right there. Got fouled by Barnett on the play.
See, at that point, sometimes defensively, you've just got to kind of surrender, right? Barnett moved his feet. He's not going to challenge at the apex of his shot. Just do what you can to try to cause some kind of interference, but you certainly don't want to dive into him or foul that jump shooter.
That gives Tyus Jordan 20 points with that free throw right there. 20 of their 49. 21 of their 50, and it's a 6-point lead for Game Elite.
I would call him the early leader for most valuable player of this game.
Or Marcus Smith, one of the other.
Exactly.
Depends on who wins, right?
Yep.
Winner gets the MVP honors. Barnett the miss, battle for it, rebound controlled by Bynum. DJ feeds it inside, nicely done.
A nifty pass right there, and you sense the Game Elite now on one of their runs again, kind of a critical time for the Express.
Three-pointer controlled by Game Elite. Foul is going to be called away from the ball.
Yeah, down low. Everybody's eyes were fixed on Tyus Jordan, excuse me, and what he was going to do. I think it was, yes.
8-point lead, Game Elite. Then Nigan is in the ball game for the first time for Elite. Rebound controlled underneath. Wing three. Jordan tried to get in there and get a tip. Here comes Smith the other way. Picked up his dribble on the baseline. He's in trouble, still gets it out of there. Poto on the crossover, had it knocked away. Express gets it back. Barnett on the drive, and he gets hammered.
Well, how many times have we seen at both ends in this championship game, just on drives, guys get by their initial defender and then fouls occur. And the Express need to capitalize. They're now in, this is a 2-shot foul, but moving forward, they're now in the bonus.
Barnett, second of his 2 free throws. And they're going to need to take advantage of this because they're going to have a pretty long stretch here in the second half where they're going to be shooting free throws.
Yep, potentially 9+ minutes. Also got to play off 2 feet a little better and try to capitalize on three-point opportunities.
And a timeout before the foul was called.
Yeah, since the Game Elite's bench sensed some problems over there in the wing, and so they signaled right before the official here on the sideline slot was ready to call an offensive hook.
Yes, Game Elite, like you said, a very judicious timeout right there to avoid the turnover. And 7-point lead with 9:32 to play here in the 16 and under Battle for Georgia RYZE Hoops Championship game. 17 and under title went to Game Elite. They beat Atlanta Express 68-65. And a 7-point lead for their 16 and under counterparts here in this title game.
And to repeat what you mentioned in the first half and early here in the second half, it's going to be a game of who makes the fewest mistakes, who can kind of find their rhythm offensively and defensively.
Rastelli, long three. Nothing but net. That's a 10-point lead for Game Elite. It's their biggest lead of the game.
Rastelli out of the Baylor School in Chattanooga. One of the best players in Middle Tennessee in the class of 25. Showing his range right there.
Carter wasn't looking for the ball and it came to him. It's going to be Game Elites. It looked like Carter turned his back on the play.
Well, he did, but I think one of the Game Elite defenders
touched it.
Yeah,
okay.
Touched it at the last moment. The official was right there on the baseline.
So Carter's going to come out of the game. Inbounds comes to Bennett. Misses the three underneath. Poto sticks it in.
He's a guy that just does a little bit of everything. Nice catch right there.
And the foul called on Marcus Smith.
Back to Casper Poto for the Atlanta Express, number 21. A guy that really doesn't have a position. You get the sense that probably for his high school, he'll do a little bit of everything inside, but when he's playing with bigger, taller guys, he can play on the wing as he does here for the Express.
Deke Cooper now in double figures. That gives him 10.
Cooper, not a great shooter from behind the arc, but he knows how to score in a big way, 15 feet and in.
Wow, they're going to call an offensive foul on that one, and Tyus Jordan, ball's going to go back the other way.
And well, not a shooting foul. Now you inch a little bit closer to that double bonus if you Express. Again, time and time again, every time you think that 8-10-point lead is going to increase for Game Elite, boy, Express just pushes back.
Dribble drive, foul called on Game Elite. McLean gets whistled there, and that's going to put Express at the line. Deke Cooper, and that's going to be the 8th team foul as they get closer and closer to double bonus. And we're not even at the halfway point of the second half.
Again, that's where Cooper is at his best, is just attacking the rim.
Cooper now with 11 points. He's scored 5 already here in the second half.
They list him at 6'6". He had played with the Atlanta Celtics a year ago, moved over from the Adidas sponsored to the Under Armour team, and a welcome sight.
How special was that for him that they knocked off the Atlanta Celtics?
I'm sure it was.
In the semifinals, going up against his former teammates. The upset victory in the semifinals put Atlanta Express here in the championship game against Game Elite.
He's a guy that can play really the 1 through 4. If you play a little small ball, he can play that power forward spot. Certainly can defend 1 through 4.
Marcus Smith called for the foul.
And notice a lot of standing now. Finally, somebody flashes into the paint, but not enough. The Express with an opportunity to cut into this lead again.
Cooper gives it up, gets it back. Poto dribble drive, puts it in, lead down to 3.
Now Cooper didn't quite have enough on that pass to Poto where he could knock down that 3 or at least attempt the shot, but he was able, 21 White was able to put it on the floor and get that 6-footer to rim in.
Express now with 3 players in double figures. Poto with 10, Cooper 11, and Smith with 18. So the bulk of their offense have come from those 3 guys as Cotton hits the runner. Long pass too far for Rickard. And a timeout on the floor with 6 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in the 16 under championship game. Game Elite on top, 57-52.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, you'll always find more fun with great brands at the best prices. More of this, and this. So you can get together for a little of that, and a lot more of that. And even some of that, and that's good. Have more fun with great brands at the best prices. Only at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
6:53 to play as action has resumed here at the Champion Center. LakePoint Sports in Emerson, Georgia. Final game of the day in the 16 under title to be decided here, and a foul is going to be called on Neal.
And you thought there might be a little bit of a hook right there offensively. But they're going to say the defensive foul occurred before the move really took place, and certainly well before the shot.
Both teams already shooting bonus. Both teams still have 2 timeouts remaining.
Thank you, sir. So many times when you get to this, it's, you know, there is the championship, and you want to call yourself champions, but third game in an afternoon, it's, you just got to find a way to win. And what do we mean by that, right? It's fewest mistakes, an extra, you know, slide defensively, sprint back so that you don't allow that layup in transition. Make that extra pass.
Yeah, he stepped out of bounds right there, and exactly what you're talking about right there. Not just the physical fatigue, but also the battle, the mental fatigue.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just a mistake right there where, you know, the pass goes to the sideline.
Yep.
That's an unforced turnover right there. Stolen away. Rastelli. Long outlet pass, and layup attempt is blocked. Ethan Carter gets the block. And a timeout called by Game Elite. A 5-point lead with 6:20 to play. So ultimately here, Coach, who wins this game and why? Elite's got the 5-point lead. Express has been kind of playing from behind ever since they fell behind by 9 in the first half.
And both coaches, I think, are talking about the same things. They may just be saying it a different way. They're trying to keep their guys engaged, you know, mentally, so that they don't make, it's a game of mistakes, right? And it's a game of easy baskets. So you're trying to tell your guys, share it, make the extra pass, don't pass and stand, make that basket cut. And then defensively, don't try to do anything outside your wheelhouse. Just stay in your stance and make sure you finish the play with a proper box out.
Jordan off the inbounds, and DJ gets the rebound and sticks it up and in.
Just like we talked about, you've got to put a body on everybody. You forced Jordan into a long jump shot, but you didn't finish the play, and now that putback extends the lead.
Lead is 7, 6 to go in the game.
At this point, it's really not about a lot of tricky plays, or it's more about just doing the right things.
Poto in a double team gives it up to Neal. 4 on the shot clock. Poto's got to go with 2, with 1. They're not going to get a shot off. First shot clock violation of the game.
And I don't know that anybody on the Express team recognized it, including the bench. You didn't hear anybody in the gym yelling clock. And if you're with Game Elite, now you're applauding your guys. As coach, you're yelling out to your team on the floor, the guys on the bench, anything you can to keep them motivated and locked in.
Ball goes to DJ. He has played a lot of minutes today. Rastelli misses. Battle for the rebound, and Elite gets it. Goes to Jordan, who goes for the dunk and hit it off the back iron. Went for the highlight reel dunk and got nothing.
They ask how many, not how you do it. Jordan right there trying to hammer it home, but you're exactly right. Even though they retained possession with 15 on the clock, missed opportunity just without laying it in.
Ball comes to Jordan again. Rastelli steps back behind the three-point line and drives. Had his shot blocked out of bounds. They're going to say Rastelli touched it last.
I thought Rastelli got away with a travel out on the perimeter before he initially made that move.
Bench, yeah. They were all jumping up and pointing. Let's see. The official's going to reverse themselves and give the ball to Game Elite. Jordan got a size advantage here. Now a double team comes at him. He gets tied up and gets fouled. So Rickard gets called for the foul, and that'll be the 7th team foul on Express. And Jordan shooting 1 and 1.
I don't know that that was an intentional double team on Jordan. I just think the way the play developed.
The defense came to him.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily attempting to double him. It just kind of ended up that way. 22 now for Jordan.
He's not perfect at the free throw line, Jordan, but boy, what a pretty touch. Does the same thing every time. One dribble, takes a breath, spins it, takes a second one, and then follows through, and then, of course, the broadcast jinx.
Exactly. 22 for Jordan. He's game-high honors right now. Marcus Smith, been a while since he last scored, missed the layup.
Game Elite's kind of corralled him a little bit at the expense of D. Cooper Jr.
Jordan in the paint, falling away. Gets the ball back, spins, and banks it in. Lead back to 10, Jordan with 24.
I give Jordan credit for staying with it. Well, he's a tough guard. I've said it before. I'm just not sure. You know, you've got to have somebody that can move with him on the perimeter, but at the same time guard him when he goes inside.
And Elite saves it. Great athletic play on the baseline to keep the ball alive. No look pass. Goes out of bounds.
Boy, you kind of ask
looking for
why.
some style points
exactly.
right there. You've jumped out to a 10-point lead and kind of feeling yourself a little bit.
You just made a great stop defensively. You're up by double digits. There's no hurry. I know there's a 30-second shot clock, but just take your time, Game Elite. And I think that's why Coach wants to talk this over.
You've got control of the game, and as much as a 10-point lead is control of the game, but it's not. It really goes beyond just the 10-point lead. I mean, we're watching the game, we're sensing the game. They sense to be taking command of the game, and then just don't make silly little mistakes that break our momentum.
That's exactly right. Who's going to stay within themselves at both ends of the court, particularly offensively? You don't have to hit home runs. I've said it time and time again. Just chip away. Make the extra pass, make the extra cut, be unselfish. And really, you would hope that these young guys, and they are young, most of them 16, some 15, that, you know, as they are competing at the highest level today and this weekend, they're finding, hey, here's what I need to do here. They need to pick up extra skills when they're playing against people that are equal or above them talent-wise.
Turnover, ahead to Rastelli. Cotton, the three-pointer, and Express has it, and then a foul in the backcourt.
Intentional or not, or unintentional, that's a good foul.
It can be dangerous to be a cameraman on the baseline.
You said it just a moment ago at the other end. Hope these guys are getting combat pay. Great job by the crew today. What a terrific broadcast. Really the first time we've done something like this inside the Champion Center.
Been a lot of fun. Really has, as Game Elite closing in on a double championship today. They won the 17 and under with a 68-65 win over Atlanta Express, and now they're trying to take the 16 and under as well, leading 62-54 with under 4 to go. Winning the double belt.
Well, and the Express with just 7 healthy bodies, just probably not able to press at this point and really extend. I think if they can string together a couple of stops and get this to within 2 possessions. Otherwise, I think they're going to have to consider that.
Long three by Rastelli, has it batted back out to him. They can run some clock if they want. Rastelli cross-court pass, goes inside. Jordan down to 5 on the shot clock. Rastelli gets it back, 2 on the clock, and hit. Oh, in and out.
I was about to say, just the way the coach drew it up, right?
Keeps Express alive. That might have been a real killer for him right there, and Rastelli had hit that shot. The miss keeps him alive here.
Well, the defense really was on its heels right there.
Yeah.
But Rastelli, I think he was one of the few Game Elite guys that recognized the shot clock was under 5.
Missed the free throw, got to hit the freebies. Rickard at the line. They're down 8 with 2:45 to play.
You can be a 70 or 80% free throw shooter, but yet what are you when the game is on the line under 2 or 3 minutes?
7-point lead for Game Elite. They have the ball. Clock in their favor, too.
And it may be the last possession that the Express don't run and jump or throw some kind of full court pressure at the Game Elite.
Turnover. And the layup by Deke Cooper. That gives him 13. And the lead's down to 5. Rastelli in traffic, and he gets fouled. He'll go to the line.
They've stayed with Rastelli there. Hasn't been overly productive offensively, but I mean, he's a guy that can move the basketball. He can guard a bigger guard. Certainly can knock down his free throws as well.
I was getting ready to say, I bet he can hit his free throws too, and that's a big thing right here in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yep, 2 that don't hit anything but net.
And he didn't even think about him. He just did his routine. 7-point lead for Game Elite. Cooper's pass intercepted. Ball ricochets over towards us. And a foul has been called on the play on Game Elite. Or was it on Express? Actually, it's going to be on Express. And that's going to be Cotton at the line with 1:53 to go. So a chance for Game Elite to really kind of salt this game away if they can hit their free throws.
And it really is going to come down to that right now. The Express has not shown that they're just an outstanding three-point team, three-point shooting team.
The lead is 9 and time running out on Express.
Game Elite in the last couple of possessions have gone to this zone, and it's really kind of not confused Game Express, but it's caused them to waste some time. And right now you get the sense that Game Elite's going to just salt this thing away.
They can play a little bit patiently and deliberately here.
Yep. And they certainly recognize that. I don't know that the Express are going to foul this possession or not.
They're trying to. They didn't call it right there. Shot clock down to 10. They don't want to foul Rastelli, and now a foul is called away from the ball. And it's going to go against Marcus Smith. And that'll put Jordan at the line for 2.
They called a double foul.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and so then they'll go to the possession arrow.
Yeah. So no free throws, and Elite, and more importantly for Elite, the shot clock goes back to 20.
I think they're just checking to make sure that it is game Elite ball with just 8 on the shot clock.
Okay, they put it back to 20 initially, now to 8. 3 on the clock, got to shoot it. Rastelli does, and apparently it must have hit iron because Edgerton was able to put it in the offensive
He just
rebound.
continued to play through that, exactly.
11 is the lead, and now Express going to be very difficult for them to come back and win this game. So Ethan Carter at the line, 68-57 the lead for Game Elite.
You've said it. The Game Elite has made their free throws here the last couple of trips. The Express, not so much. Got to knock this one down so that they can jump into something full court.
They do that right there. It's a 10-point game. They pick up full court defense. Rastelli behind the back beats it. Now finally a foul is going to be called as Rickard was riding Rastelli as he was coming down the court. And that's going to put Rastelli at the line for 2. Maybe the last guy that you want to be sticking at the line. Misses the free throw.
Wow.
And missed them both.
Uncharacteristically, but if you're...
Leaves the door open for Express.
Express, you just don't, if you're Game Elite, you just don't want to foul.
3 in the corner, off the mark, rebound controlled. And the shot missed by Smith. And that should just about do it, down to 31 seconds.
Partner, it looks like Game Elite is going to get the 16 and 17U championships here at the Battle for Georgia 2023.
Yeah. Impressive run by the Adidas program to win both of the championships, or top level championships, the 17 and the 16 here in the RYZE Hoops Battle for Georgia, presented by Publix. Lead has gone to 12. Just a matter of the final score at this point. Poto misses, and Rastelli gets the rebound. They'll dribble it out. And Game Elite's going to win the championship here in the 16 and unders. 70-58 the final, as Tyus Jordan goes for 24. And a double championship for Game Elite here in the Battle for Georgia, winning 17 and 16 today.
Well, it wasn't as pretty as maybe you'd like to draw it up. It was sloppy at times, but you know what? These Game Elite guys at the 16U level, talented, skilled. Tyus Jordan leads the way, but he had some help from a number of other guys, and they were able to finally keep that lead secure in double digits in the second half.
And appropriately enough, Tyus Jordan is the first man in the handshake line. What a performance by him today with 24. He had 15 in the first half and then 9 more in the second half, and was really instrumental in that first half, Coach, when Game Elite kind of took control of the game a little bit and started to establish the momentum, something that they were able to carry into the second half.
That's exactly right. On a night when Bynum wasn't as good as he normally would be, there were a couple of other guys stepped up, and then they, for the most part, made the right plays in the last 4 minutes of the game, including making the majority of the free throws. And then he just closed it out. They were able to defend an Express team that wasn't real adept at making three-pointers. They kept them in front of them, and they secured the victory.
Team photo time now, and there's the championship belt. Coach bringing out the belt and posing with it. In Game Elite, the 16 and under Battle for Georgia champions.
They also won, and I'm mistaken, they won the 15U, so they got the triple crown here.
They got the trifecta today. So congratulations to Game Elite with the trifecta, and they get to carry back the hardware. Got the championship belts. And a 70-58 victory here in the 16 and under championship final. We'll step aside and come back and wrap things up from the Champion Center in just a few moments. A moment, going to bring in Tyus Jordan in just a moment. So change of plans, live TV, as they like to say. No Tyus Jordan, but a 70-58 victory for Game Elite here. And again, how about the three championship, the three-peat, if you will, for the Game Elite program today, winning 15, 16, and 17, Coach?
Can't say enough about the program, their coaches, their players, their culture. They've been around 23 years, and they dominated today. I mean, it was a fun place to be, the LakePoint Champion Center. You saw some great basketball, some exciting games. At the end of the day, 15, 16, 17, Game Elite can say they're the best in the Peach State.
No doubt about it. And Tyus Jordan, his performance, scored 24 of their 70 in the 16 and under championship game.
He was a problem, both facing the basket and inside. At the defensive end, he altered and blocked some shots. I mean, he was clearly the most valuable player. Even though they don't name one, he was the best player on the court.
So caps our day here. Two exciting games, and Game Elite winning the two that we televised, the 17 and under and the 16 and under. But a 68-65 final for Game Elite over Atlanta Express in the 17, and then a 70-58 final here in the 16. How about Atlanta Express and them even getting to the final here in the 15 and the 16 and under?
Yeah, I mean, Winford Jordan did a great job with the 17s, but also their 16s with that upset win over the Atlanta Celtics in the semifinals. Again, this was the place to be. Tons of fun. So many people to thank to make this happen. And, boy, this just continues the run for LakePoint Sports and what they're doing for youth sports.
Okay, well, let's see. We're going to step aside for a moment, continue with another interview on this other side of the break, I believe is what we're going to do right here. 70-58, the final. Will continue from LakePoint Sports in just a moment. And welcome back to the Champion Center, LakePoint Sports. 70-58 victory for Game Elite over Express. And Tyus Jordan joins us here courtside. And Tyus, tell us about your performance today. You scored 24 of the 70 on what had to be a tough day.
Yeah.
You guys just played 3 games in about 6 hours.
Yeah, it was tough. Just persevering. You know, the team just saying one at a time, one at a time. We had a big game against the Stars right before this, so it was kind of a quick turn to play, but as a team, we just persevered and, you know, just stayed together.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the amazing things of what you guys were able to accomplish today because, you know, as folks may or may not know, when you play in a venue like this, sometimes your game doesn't start on time. You guys got backlogged a little bit because the game before you ran long. So you ended up having, what, maybe 20 minutes from the end of your semifinal to getting out here and playing in the championship game. How did you guys survive that physically and mentally?
It started from warm-ups. We had a good amount of time to warm up. We didn't go straight into just hooping, laying up, like stretching, you know, getting water, getting fluid in our bodies, you know, staying prepared.
Tell us a little bit about your game and kind of some of the things that you have worked on this summer as far as what you got in your bag.
I've been working on my explosiveness a lot, you know, lateral movements and, you know, my post game, facing up, taking people off the dribble, you know, just being able to do it all, not just being one-dimensional.
How has the recruiting aspect of your life gone this summer?
It's been, you know, well, different coaches hitting me up, you know, just, you know, having high interest, want to get me on campus. So, you know, it feels good, you know, getting a recognition. So I'm putting in the work. And
you got the next game coming up on Wednesday, so it's right back to work for you guys. From a conditioning standpoint, not just the physical but also the mental, how do you prepare yourself for a schedule that just keeps rolling on? It's a much more intense schedule than you face in high school.
You kind of get used to it, you know, as you play ball. All these years I've been playing since first grade, so AAU world, you play a lot of games, so you get used to it as you get older.
Well, Tyus, congratulations. You went for 24 today. Spectacular performance. It was fun to watch, and we appreciate you joining us here courtside.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Tyus Jordan, and Coach Mazier is going to step right in here in just a moment, and so we'll just bring him right in. We had some technical difficulties, I'm told, in our first interview. So, Coach,
coming back.
You get a second chance. How about
Absolutely.
that? Well, we'll cover some of the things that we talked about the first time, since apparently folks didn't get a chance to hear it. How difficult was this day for you guys, playing 3 games in about 6 hours, winning all 3?
Hey, it was very rough. It was very rough. But that's why we always preach to them about playing the right way, playing together, because with that mindset, it helps you get through this grind like we had today.
As the head coach, what do you do to try to manage things a little bit for your players and do what you can from your position on the floor to kind of keep things under control?
I try not to say too much to them because I know it's going to be a long day, and at some point they're going to start tuning me out. So, I trust in what we do in practice, and then I get out here and let them do their thing and try to, make the minor adjustments as we go along.
And as we were talking to Tyus just a moment ago, you guys had a really quick turnaround. Now, in a tournament, there's always quick turnarounds. Yours was even quicker because the game before you went long in the semifinals. Then you had a racehorse game with the Georgia Stars, and then maybe, 20 minutes from the end of that game to getting out here and playing the championship game against Atlanta Express.
Right. Absolutely. We preach to them about staying hydrated and stretching, and we make sure that they don't put all that junk in their body in between games. And a lot of them been doing this for a long time, so they're used to it. You know what I mean? Like, we started with a lot of these kids in elementary school, so it's kind of par for the course right now with how things go with this.
It was great to visit with Tyus just a few moments ago.
Absolutely.
Fine young man, scored 24 points. Talk about his performance today.
Hey, man, just stay on him about building his confidence, keeping him in the gym, and, getting him to understand and trust his work. You know what I mean? He put in a lot of work, so when you get out here, he's like, yo, put it on display, Trust what you've been doing in the gym.
You can tell he's a multifaceted player. He's got a lot of tricks in his bag.
Absolutely.
So what's up next for you guys?
3SSB. Yeah, we go down there Wednesday. We go up there Wednesday, and, we're going to band together and go out there and make the best of it. Have a lot of fun.
Coach, congratulations again on the championship.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Game Elite wins all 3 of them here today, the 15, the 16, and the 17 at LakePoint Sports Champion Center. That's going to wrap things up for us, for Scott Hicken, Greg Barkoff, David Healy, and everybody who worked with us, including my partner, Coach Dean Keener. I'm Matt Stewart. So long from LakePoint, where Game Elite wins the 16 and under championship by 12 over Atlanta Express.